Hey.
Hello.
Okay. Chat as usual. Mic check. Am I good? Is Chillhola good? Chillhola, say something.
Hello. Am I good now?
Oh, yeah, I hope so. As long I don't know. I still don't understand why earlier I couldn't get Discord audio to be captured on OBS. That's so fucking weird. We probably should have like actually planned this better.
No, I mean I planned it like 2 hours before the stream. I planned a lot of it. You are the one late.
I mean, technically the plan was a while back, but you know we haven't actually like seriously planned until like pretty much the last like 30 minutes or like 20 minutes even. Also, Asher, thank you for 7 months. I caught that.
Okay.
Okay. Fuck, I'm so tired. You know, earlier. Okay, maybe I'll move to the main screen first. Hold on. Earlier. Okay, it's like 12:30 now, right? I think I messaged you on like 12, and I was like, I'm so fucking tired and all that shit. I was like in the middle of editing my video, and I basically like fell into a mini sleep, basically. I basically was like already half asleep. I was already almost unconscious. But I was in the middle of editing my video, and I just like kind of like fell asleep, and I woke up and I was like, fuck, it's 12. It's like, oh, I'm so sleepy. But fuck it, it's like I gotta stream.
Yeah, I think it's fine now.
I hope so.
Okay, are we going to start now?
Oh, I don't even know where to start. I don't even usually like. I don't know if you watch my streams, but like, I usually like ended up starting the discussion of Battle Cats maybe like 30 minutes into the stream because I just ramble on.
Nah, it's fine. You have me right now. You can discuss with me.
Yeah, because like, yeah, last time I think I was like talking about Tevi. Tevi, that was a long discussion. Because I was just talking about Tevi nonstop. Speaking of Tevi, let me find the tweet, because as usual, if there's any chance that I get that I can use to promote Tevi, I'll use it to promote Tevi. So
you are going to use this to promote in my stream?
Hell yeah! This is a good time to promote Tevi because there's 2 streams at once. Oh my god, let's go!
I mean, this stream is you. I share your screen. I share your stream. You can do whatever you want anyway.
Yeah, exactly. This is a good chance to look, guys. There's you know, the OTK Games Expo. I didn't know what this was before this, but apparently OTK, like the streamer group or something, is having like a games expo. I think like about, let's say like around 26 hours from now, somewhere around there. I think basically around 24 hours, 25 hours from now, they're having like a games expo, and Tevi's in there, and you know, check it out and all that shit. I might actually stream tomorrow purely just to promote it. When will Tevi come out? I think it's like around Q3. I don't think there's like a specific month or anything. I think it's just like Q3 this year, somewhere around that. Not sponsored. It is not sponsored, but who knows?
But you use this on my stream. That's why it's our stream anyways, right?
Yeah, well, I don't fucking know. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we jump in? I could find stupid shit to ramble on again.
Okay, so what's the thing that I want to talk is, okay, I have a membership now, right? I just
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Is it live now already? Like you already have the membership?
Yes, I already active my membership, but I didn't post anything yet.
Oh, okay. Oh right, okay, yeah, I see your emotes. Okay, you have the fat fuck, you have the dab, you have the weed. Unfortunately, it's not the seizure fat fuck.
I can't put a GIF on that, you know.
It is unfortunate that's one of like the main thing that you can't. I'm opening your stream on my stream. This is fucking weird. Also, hold on, who was it? Stone Cold Pigs. Thank you for the prime sub. Oh my god, this is fucking weird. Oh no! Oh no! I was just about to check your sub, but apparently I can't even check your membership here because I'm not logged in here.
Oh, you use like.
Oh wait, no, I can. I think I can. Wait, no, never mind. I do have to sign in. Okay.
Yeah, you can click on the top left. Yeah, join button. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, no, it doesn't show. Someone in the chat just say Golden Experience Requiem. So yeah.
You mean in the chat there is Jones and X-Count here too.
Yeah, this one also I can't show the membership, but yeah. Unfortunate that you can't have seizure fat fuck. You can have like a frame of seizure fat fuck though.
I can only put 4 emote right now, and I don't think anyone will join anyway if I didn't do anything.
I mean, you could also have like 4 different frames of seizure.
Why do I have to do that?
Like that's literally just like the evils. It's just like 1 frame of fat fuck, 2nd frame of fat fuck, 3rd frame of fat fuck, 4th frame of fat fuck.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess there are some people who. I guess this is like some people's first time hearing your voice as well.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So I mean, I speak a dozen times, but they might not hear me speak yet.
Yeah. There's definitely some people in chat that are stuff like, oh, voice reveal. Yeah, it's been a while. I guess.
This is not voice reveal. I speak a lot, especially when I got hacked around half a year ago.
Oh yeah, that did happen. Also, Ratan, thank you for the sub. Yeah, that did happen. Was that like an NFT thing? Was it?
Maybe it's the Tesla life thingy.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely like crypto related. That's for sure. Yeah, it was a Tesla thing. It's like they have like a stream going on in your life, in your thing, right? Yeah.
Okay, shall we start the update discussion?
It's only been 10 minutes. What do you mean? I mean, I guess
Okay,
I guess that's also fine. Probably one more thing. Just one more thing. Since people are gathering around, I just want to say that I have been working on. I did post this on like my last quiz because I have been posting like quiz on YouTube recently. It's like some Battle Cats quiz and shit like that. Last time
I see that.
Yeah. Last time on my quiz, I did mention that I'm working on a non-Battle Cats video. I did talk to you about this too, right? Like indie games review. That is currently what I've been working on like the past week or so. That is very much experimental. I do enjoy the process currently, but man, this is taking a while. I do wish that I want to quit my job, man.
Bro, I still don't have a job yet. What do you?
Yeah, but you're already making enough, so.
I am still unemployed.
Yeah. I wish I could work on this like much more, but like currently progress is slow, and it's only slow because I have job and shit's been tiring. Like, I hope this video comes out soon. And I hope people are looking forward to it, even though nobody's asking for non-Battlecats video, and non-Battlecats videos always do badly, but you know. I would like to be...
I feel that, man. I feel that a lot. Every time I upload like Monster Hunter video, no one gonna watch it for some odd reason.
Yeah. I mean, Monster Hunter Rise did just get an update. I think people would get... Yeah, I think people would get more attention to that. Well, at least, I guess, like, people from the Monster Hunter community. Probably people from the Battlecats community might not get, like, interest.
I think they were excited because they will have one more monster, one more enemy that can be Behemoth related.
They did? What was it? Like what was the recent one? Like something Malzeno? Something Primordial Malzeno. Yeah.
Yeah, Primal Cyclone. Similar thing.
Primordial Cyclone. Yeah, one day maybe I'll do a Rise collab after all. But who knows?
You said like 2075.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wait for like another couple of years for like the next Chillhola Lucas collab. And then it's gonna be like hunting a single monster in Monster Hunter Rise, and then we're done.
Bruh.
And then the next collab is 2027. Okay, I think that's about it. I don't really know what else to talk about. I'm just currently hoping that like the next non-Battlecats video will actually do well. But
about the Battlecat video, I still have like the trip on Japan that I have footage around.
Oh yeah. Are you editing that currently still? It's like, what's the plan? You said something about like having part being membership.
Maybe I will I maybe release in there first, but currently the membership is still blank right now because I just make it not that long ago.
Yeah,
but the plan is
also work out.
The plan will be pretty soon about the JP trip because I got some souvenir, Battlecat souvenir from there.
You got a what?
A Battlecat souvenir from there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be a good thumbnail. You can just put the stack of cats, right? The stack of cat plushies.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have Photoshop ready. I think I can just talk about the updates in here. You know, I just noticed when I was opening this wiki page earlier, they really cleaned up the update page. I think like the 12.3 update wasn't even like this clean.
Really?
At least it doesn't feel like it. Yeah, they didn't have like the unit icon. They didn't have like this one have like the unit icon and the source banner and all that stuff. Well, I mean this one, yeah, this one has like the source banner. This one, well, I mean I guess this is gacha. This one aren't gacha, but like these two, it's like the true forms have like the icons and also the changes are on. I have icons and all that stuff. This one is just list. Like this one is just text list.
Huh. I don't know. I always check on the fandom anyways, the update.
I usually also check on Discord, but I figured that this is like easier to stream since on Wiki you also have the links and everything, and it's just immediately available. And at 12.4, it's like this update page is much more clean. There's like the icons and the changes are listed with icons and all that stuff. Props to whoever working on Wiki. Oh, Astrif. Thanks, I'm the wiki guy. Okay, thank you, Astrif. What game is that? Institute of Natural Engineering? Oh, that's the name of the music. The game is Everslash. Which, by the way, Everslash is going to be part of the next video that I'm working on. Next video I'm working on, I'm reviewing 3 indie games. One of them is Everslash. If you like this music, be sure to check out the next video too, because it has Everslash. Okay, I guess we'll just start then, question mark.
I mean, can you like resume the screen share, please? It's paused.
Oh, wait, what? It's paused? Stop your application to resume? Oh, it's because it's minimized, okay. Also, Brett, thank you for 10 months. Okay. I should remember to not minimize my OBS then. Just tell me if that happens again, because I probably wouldn't know.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Let's start with the general overview first. This is 12.4 update. Currently it's not up on English. Currently this is only on Japanese. Most of the things in this update are related to Evangelion. Here's a new unit from Evangelion, new unit from Evangelion, new Luga, new egg. This is Beancat's true form, Evangelion true form, Evangelion true form, Evangelion true form. There's Aku Researcher's true form. This is Chun Hunter's true form. This is Egg. This is me. This is me whenever I'm using Twitter. There we got talents for Yoshimoto. I don't think this is super talent. Yeah, this is just normal talent. Normal talent for Imago and Yoshimoto. And then we got super talents for Kachikachi and super talents for Himeyuri. And for enemies, this is EVA enemy. This is I don't remember what this is. I think what is this?
The clown base.
Clown base? Oh, okay. Why is it special? It does nothing despite the special treatment as an animated base? Oh, okay.
It has animated base, so it's special. All animated is always special.
Oh, okay. So yeah, okay. So it has some animation with the clown.
Like the clown just pop up from the castle.
Okay, that's kind of funny. Okay, so that's just the base. And there's a new angelic order. This one is also pretty cool. We'll also talk about that. And then we have Pickle, which is a new relic beast. And also, I thought this is base, but apparently not. Apparently this is a metal enemy. It's a metal enemy base. Okay, wait, what? Wait, I never heard of this actually. I didn't know about this. This is a metal enemy base? Also, Zach, thank you for the sub. I'm sorry if I'm missing any subs. This is new. You heard about this?
Yes, I only see like the picture data, but I don't know about the data about this at all.
Oh yeah. I saw the base too. I saw it was like, oh yeah, this is a base. I didn't know this is metal. This is new.
I heard that it led to like Evangelion collab, so I'm not sure about the stage at all.
Yeah,
it led to collab.
I also don't really check the stage. That's, I think, the first time I've ever seen a metal base, so okay. Stages, we got new chapter for Zero Legends. We got, what the fuck is this? I assume this is Evangelion. I think this is Cyclone? Yeah, this is Cyclone's Ratan Revenge, which we get Aku Researcher's true form from. Enigma, we got a Hunter's Map 4, and wait, no, this isn't, oh, this is June Bride, okay. This is where we get the Clown, and we got some new collab stages. That's basically about it. 0.03 DPS, Funko. And there's new user rank rewards. I don't fucking care. Cat combo. I don't remember what this is even. Oh, this is Chun Hunters. Okay, we can talk about this later too. Okay, and also well, we're just gonna run down through everything first. and also a new ability, Counter Search, which we'll also get into once we get into the new enemy. Okay, is there anything you're particularly interested on for this update?
Me?
Yeah.
The search retaliate one.
The what?
The new search thingy, the new abilities.
Oh, yeah. Counter Search is interesting to say the least.
Every time I go in fandom or something, they were like, "This is the end of Dasley" or something like that.
Oh, we'll get into that. I think we'll get into that because I do also want to talk about like people saying that this is like, this is the end of Dasley meta or some shit like that. Oh wait, okay. I saw you send like the thumbnail of Anwar's video earlier.
Yeah, that's cringe.
Was that about this? Was that about Counter Search?
Yeah. It's about
Oh
the
my god!
So you see him test on the stage with the Otta, the new Otta enemy, and he like nearly beat it. So he said, "This is the end of Dasley" or something like that.
Oh my god, it's so dumb. This is not the end of Dasley in the slightest. Like, the one that gets hurt the most is shit like Uriel, maybe. Like, Dasley, fuck no. Will Chillhola echo so much? EVA? I did kind of just like did the audio a little bit last minute, so if there's any problem with audio, do tell me and I'll try to fix it live. Chillhola is echoing. Would there be an echo? Hold on.
Is it required you like using the desktop voice thingy?
Yeah, but I don't think that should echo. I have a noise gate and I have a limiter, but I don't think that should be a problem. Release. If I increase this, attack time, hold time, whatever.
Are you going to leave that like that? Are you going to leave like the sound like that?
I have no fucking idea. I think it's okay. I don't know. There's a bit of echo. It's kind of echoey. It's not echoing. Which is it? Okay, whatever. I think they're just gonna have to deal with that.
Okay.
Let's just start with like the new units first, cause well, fuck not. There's a lot of EVA units here, and I don't usually care that much about like collab units, but it's EVA. It's big enough to warrant attention, I think. First one, this is a unit that is generally referred to as Asuka Dasley because it's literally Asuka Dasley. I think the translation is One-Eyed Asuka or something like that. Let me see if there's a translation here. Yeah, Sekigan no Shoujo Asuka, One-Eyed Asuka. I assume that's like One-Eyed Girl Asuka. And true form is Hekigan no Majo Asuka, Blue-Eyed Witch Asuka. That sounds about right. Blue-Eyed magical girl, Blue-Eyed Witch Asuka. So yeah, this is Dasley 3. Well, I guess Dasley 2 or Castly 3. That's yeah. Ponos knew, I guess, how strong Dasley is, and they just say, "Here's literally another Dasley."
They just want to overpower people game.
Yeah, they knew. They figured out.
I think it's a plan for them because like they start to like develop the search retaliate thingy, so like they just confident to release a new unit like this.
They did have Raytama last time.
can compare with the normal Itama
Sorry, what?
at all. I mean the Itama can compare with normal Itama at all.
This one is also kind of weaker than normal Dasley, right? But I guess Ritama was like really... Ritama's slow was like really bad, wasn't it?
I mean Ritama had a different a huge gap between normal Itama, but this one is debatable.
This one is actually like not super bad, I think, from what I heard. Well, I mean, it's like... It's, I guess, weaker than Dasley, but I think people say it's like, it's not that weaker from Dasley, right?
Yes.
I haven't really... I don't know what Dasley... I don't have Dasley stats on the top of my head. I need to actually look up Dasley stats to compare it. Dasley, good... Bang. Okay. This is Dasley, and this is Asuka. Dasley have better health, better DPS, same standing range, similar attack frequency, same movement speed, better knockback count, and exactly the same attack animation, exactly the same recharge time. Okay, they really copied everything.
But the point is, normal Dasley has a Surge and Baby Moon.
Oh yeah, you're right. Asuka Dasley have EVA Angel Killer, which obviously is made for EVA stuff, but also have the same, or at least have a similar offensive capabilities in a way.
So like the Asuka Dasley, they have like pretty good immunity if you ask me, because they have toxic immune and freeze immune. And freeze immune is pretty good against like Henry stage.
Yeah. I guess like with Dasley, you sort of have like a second-hand immunity as well with Curse, but you do have to actually hit the enemy first. So like even if Dasley doesn't have like toxic immune, she can still like shut down toxic enemies by just using the curse most of the time. So I also saw like people talking about Big Fang Z was just up like a couple. I think is Big Fang Z still up? I think it's still up. People were talking about Big Fang Z. Yeah, people were talking about Big Fang Z. I saw, and like I saw someone asking this like, oh, I have all these Ubers, but like none of them are toxic immune, and then they have Dasley, and I'm like, bro. You literally have a unit that can make all of your units toxic immune.
So the problem about Big Bang Z is when I try to rush the Big Bang Z in this time, Dasley die a lot for some what reason.
Well,
she land hit too late, or the peon just interrupt her or something like that.
It's not my problem. I use carousel. I didn't rush the stage. I used carousel for the first time ever. Evans is actually useful. It's like the one stage where they actually made Evans useful. But yeah, in terms of like offensive capabilities, there are pretty similar, although Dasley, Asuka Dasley have significantly less damage. Her base DPS is 2200, meanwhile normal Dasley is 2900. So with the Surge, it usually would be like ×4, where with Dasley you would have around like wait, no, is it ×4? I guess it is ×4, right? Because it's like first hit and then yeah, so it's like yeah, first hit and 3 Surge. So with Dasley, you get like almost 12k, around 11k. Meanwhile, with Asuka Dasley, you get I guess around 9k. Yeah, which is still like a fuck ton. It's like maybe if you compare it with Dasley, it's a bit of a drop from like almost 12k to around 9k. But also, it's literally just like big numbers against big number. It's like big number against slightly lower big number, which in and of itself is still a big number.
I'm pretty sure it had like similar damage if you fight like, against the Colossus enemies?
With Colossus enemy, I'm pretty sure Asuka Dasley would have significantly more damage though, right? Because like
it's 1.6 times damage.
Yeah, it's 1.6, so with like Asuka Dasley around 9k DPS, that would be still around like 15k DPS or some shit like that, which is, yeah, it's still above Dasley, but it's not that much. And also, again, it's literally just like big number and bigger number. Oh my god, I'm so fucking tired. Everything else is the same, isn't it? Like, the LD is the same, the search range is the wait, no. Oh wait, the search range for Asuka Dasley is slightly farther. Slightly more random, I guess.
Wait,
Asuka Dasley is... Yeah, apparently. Asuka Dasley is 400 to 800 for spawning. Normal Dasley is 400 to 700. I don't know if this is good or not, though. Because, like, I guess technically with, like, that means that Asuka Dasley can snipe farther away, but that also means the consistency is less.
If you ask me, it dropped the DPS.
Probably, I guess. It does mean that, like, the damage is less concentrated, but makes it more better at sniping, I guess. Oh yeah, I also forgot about the curse. I honestly forgot that Asuka Dasley even have curse.
I think it has a lower uptime.
Yeah, it seems to have a much lower uptime. Normal Dasley is 4.5 seconds, Asuka Dasley is 2.5 seconds, but also, I've always said this, but like, who the fuck uses Dasley for curse? At least, like, well, no, you can definitely use her for curse, but like, a lot of the time it's kind of just like, oh yeah, she has curse, that's neat. And not like, you literally bring Dasley fucking everywhere, and it's not because like, oh yeah, she's a good curse unit. It's like, fuck no, you use her for damage.
But what if I told you I use her for the curse?
No, I definitely can see her being used for the curse, but like, almost every time you bring her is going to be, mainly it's like, she have absurdly big damage, and also the curse is a nice cherry on top, you know? Someone in chat said Wing Piggy counter. I always said that, like, I think Wing Piggy's weaken almost never matters. I don't know if this is like, I feel like this isn't a popular opinion. I feel like a lot of people actually really cares about Wing Piggy's weaken. I personally think Wing Piggy's weaken is barely affecting anything, in my opinion. I think it barely affects anything. A lot of the times, if anything enters Wing Piggy's like attack, they just get knocked back anyway, or they just die, or they just can't function anyway. So I feel like the weaken doesn't really matter that much.
But that's better to me because I use ramming to kill it.
Yeah, well, that's you're in a completely different level, right? And it's like, a lot of the times it's also the fact that like, a lot of like proper Wing Piggy stages doesn't have Wing Piggy as like the actual main threat. It's like Heaven's Oasis. It's like, yeah, okay, you wanna use Ramen to kill Wing Piggy, like, you gotta deal with the Auros first. But if you kill the Auros, you win anyways, so it doesn't really matter. I think like, I saw recently I saw Chavi's Dogumaru stream. Did you not stream, Dogumaru's video? Did you watch that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember him getting stuck. I remember him getting stuck on the Wing Piggy and Metal Stage one. That one is actually a case where I guess the weaken sorta matters, but also I think that's kind of an issue on Chavi's strategy at the first place anyway. Where he brings basically...
Okay, let me say something. There's like when I rushing the 4-star on that stage, I stuck in that stage because of Big Vicky.
Yeah. Dude, just okay, it's like, I guess 4-star, but like, he wasn't doing 4-star. He has access to Waitress that can literally like basically one shot Super Metal Hippo and Outrageous Wing Piggy. Like, if he just bring wages, literally all of his problems were solved.
But he also need like knockback immune for that too, because yeah, to make her have the knockback.
Really? I mean, I don't remember bringing knockback immune. I guess you can bring like green shell or something like that. I think I just lured. I'm pretty sure I just lured and then kill Silver Metal Hippo on its own. Like, I just let him hit the base. I'm pretty sure that's what I did. It's been a while, but I don't really fully remember, but I'm pretty sure I just let him hit the base. So once again, I don't think the weaken matters that much. I guess it can matter maybe if you're like trying to do Awaken Behemoth Rush. But yeah. Anyways, I think this duration being lower. It's like, it's not that great, but also I don't think that's too big of a deal that makes her that bad. If you take Dasley's curse completely out, she's still gonna be a top tier unit. And I think the same can be said to Asuka. It's like, just because she has lesser curse, it doesn't really take away that much value off of her. She's still a very, very good damager. Curse being considerably worse is bad because her DPS is lower and her surge can miss easier. She can't curse very well and she can't push enemies off of her easily because lack of DPS that Dasley has. She has 9k LV DPS. What the fuck are you talking about? Literally nobody, not a fucking unit in the game have like nearly 10k DPS with LD. Yeah, sure, the surge is less consistent, but also that's literally why you have like 9 other units that you can bring. That's literally why you have 9 other units that you can bring in the team to back her up. It's not enough to push things off of her. Did you bring other units? Do you bring other units at all? It's definitely good, but nowhere near as OP as Dasley is. Yeah, I know. I wasn't trying to make an argument that she's as good as Dasley. I literally am calling her worse Dasley. But like, it's not really saying much to say that like you're a worse version from a unit that has literally have been like considered to be the #1 Uber in the game for like the past like 3 years or like a couple of years. It's like, it's not really saying much. You're a slightly worse clone than literally the best Uber in the game before Phono comes in. It's like, you're still a fucking absurdly broken unit, or at least a clone of an absurdly broken unit. Maybe you're not absurdly broken, but Jesus Christ, you're still really, really fucking strong. It's like,
I agree with that.
Yeah, it's like, it's not really saying much to say it's like, oh, she's not broken, or she's not as broken as like this literal #1 Uber in the game. Yeah, of course not. But like, just being slightly worse than the #1 Uber in the game still nets you on like a very, very high value in a way.
Oh, anyway, Lucas, I have an argument with the X-Scout not that long ago. And
no.
X-Scout said like, the Asuka is top 10 Uber of all time. Do you agree with that?
I don't really know, because I don't even know what's in top 10 in general. Like, I don't really... Okay, well, you probably know this, but I don't really care about Ubers that much.
Okay, that's right.
I like, even when people are arguing about like, because like there's a big argument about Phono and Dasley, right? I don't give a fuck about that. Like, people are saying it's like, oh, Phono's better than Dasley. It's like Dasley's better than Phono. It's like, I don't. It's like, you know. Okay, you know what image represents me? It's this one. It's this. I'm this guy. This is literally me with like #1 Uber and like top 3 Ubers or some shit like that. It's like, oh man, that Uber is like better than me. It's like, for me, it's just like, holy shit, it's like 2 OP Ubers. Who fucking cares which one is better? It's like, it doesn't fucking matter. Shut the fuck up. This is literally why we abolished tier lists from RBC. Because these fucking discussions are like the worst. They bring like the most toxic people around. They bring like the most toxic discussion around. And all for what? For nothing. This doesn't help anyone. This literally doesn't help anyone. You can choose either of these. You're still gonna get through the game like super fucking easily because both of these are absurdly broken Ubers. Who fucking cares which one is the like number one? It's a good Uber, just use it. Yeah, that's basically what I'm thinking. It's like, who the fuck cares which one is better? If you have one of them, good. Who the fuck cares? I mean, I said who the fuck cares, but like clearly people care. But like, why? You really have no reason to care.
But it's a really care about that. Because
people definitely really care about this. But yeah, this is why I fucking hate tier lists. I try to stay away from tier list discussion as much as possible. And in general, it's like, I guess I can kind of understand tier list in a way where it's like, it just gives certain people a good general idea on like, I guess what Ubers are considered strong and not, and like they can kind of see like the pattern on like why certain Ubers are strong or not, or kind of just like to know what they can invest on and all that stuff. But for the most part, a lot of this discussion comes from like actually like already veteran players who are kind of just like comparing dick sizes. I don't really like the discussion for the most part. It really just feels kind of like it just feels like comparing dick size. it doesn't feel like it comes from the it doesn't really feel like it comes from the wanting to like guide people or to like help people understand Ubers or some shit like that. It really just kind of, most of the time it feels like my favorite Uber is better than your favorite Uber, which is like, fuck off. Shut the fuck up, please. I don't understand. Anyways, that's Dasley. Is there anything else that I want to talk about? I guess you did mention this earlier, but I probably should also press this more, which is that Dasley doesn't have surge and wave immunity, which is
this impact a lot in my opinion, because I use Dasley because of surge immune most of the time, because this meta have a bunch of surge.
I think it's also why people, or at least not why, I guess that's also like one of the main things that people who doesn't do non-Uber use for Cappy the first time when Cappy first came out. Because literally, she's like one of the only units that actually has surge immunity.
I think actually like the second unit in the game that have surge immune, and people use it a lot during the meta.
Yeah. Well, now we have better, well, not better choices, but like easier to get choices, so that's neat. But yeah, I think it's like in terms of like damage and all that shit, damage and curse and all that shit, I think Dasley is still really fucking strong. I think if there is anything that like really brings her down a notch, it probably would be the wave and surge immunity. Like that actually, because like that's the thing about like having less stats or something like that, is that if you can bring a lot of if you bring Dasley on stages that like Dasley works on, chances are you're gonna get like very similar result. But you can't say the same to stages that has wave and surge, because like that just like straight out makes her nearly unusable. And yeah, I think that probably is like her main nerf, I guess, compared to Dasley. But also this is collab Uber, and it's not a fest, and you can actually have like a relatively easier time to get her if the collab is up somewhere in the end along the way. Who knows when that is? If you mentioned Colossus Slayer, yes, but also Colossus Slayer. Okay, you're talking to a guy who does like almost no barons.
You can ask me.
Yeah, you can.
I always do
ask.
the baron.
I could ask you, yes. But also I feel like a lot.
I can't give the proper answer yes because I didn't taste him at all. I don't have access to it, so I guess I had to wait for a while.
I guess it also really depends on like which Colossus it is. I think like it would matter for certain Colossus. It might not matter for some Colossus because like a lot of Colossus also, some of the main problems are like not actually the boss.
I mean, like, on Big Bang C, she is definitely better than normal Dasley.
Oh,
that's all I can think of. Yeah, because Big Bang C has the toxic.
But that's something. Dasley just needs to.
Like I told you before, but when I use Dasley, she normally get toxic by it before she can land a hit.
Oh, yeah. You should have used Carousel then.
Maybe she can land a hit because like the bird zombie like Sori and the Siki. Yeah, they just pop up from nowhere and knock Dasley back and interrupt her attack or something like that, and make the toxic can reach her or some point.
Right.
So I can definitely tell that Asuka is better in Big Bang. But the others, I'm not sure because her damage is pretty similar if you count the Colossus Slayers.
Yeah, with Colossus Slayer, I'm pretty sure Dasley have better damage, but
but you say the main problem is the peons, right?
Yeah, I think most barons, the problem are the peons. It's like, oh yeah, like this one. I think the only one that I can think of is like Axial and Megamute, and maybe Horrorpotamus. Those are where like killing the boss actually matters, but also I never played Horrorpotamus. But like things like Baron Seal, for example, like one of the big problem in Baron Seal is literally the fucking Gory. It's the angelic Gory. What's the elephant's name?
Let's say Legrim.
Legrim, yeah. In Legrim, you kind of just like deal with the Ashna and you're done, and also the douche. So yeah, I think like most of the time, Colossus Slayer don't usually help that much. Again, like probably the main thing that you can work on is like Big Fang Z and Axial, because they actually have like relatively reasonable health, I would say. And the other peons are also not boosted to like infinity. It's like, yeah, they're pretty strong, but they're not like 600% Angelic Gory. Okay, I think that's about all for Asuka Dasley. I don't really know what else to talk about for Asuka Dasley. Basically, weaker Dasley, but still pretty strong. But also, Wave and Surge Immunity kinda isn't good to not have. But yeah, that's about all for Asuka Dasley. If Evangelion comes in, I think Evangelion should come in, because this is a pretty big collab. I doubt that they don't. I mean, even if they don't put it next update, there's still a chance that I think.
It's always has a collab, I'm pretty sure. It's like 2 months late or around that.
I don't know. Who knows?
Confident about this. I'm very confident about this. Waiting around 2 years. I mean 2 months.
Hopefully we don't have to wait too long. Yeah, this is a big collab.
We got the Fate collab not that long ago, right?
Yeah.
So it's gonna be the similar case.
Hopefully. Yeah. Yeah, I do think that should come to EN, because this is like a pretty big one, and usually they do like big collabs on like all versions. It's like it's kind of like you already put like this much effort. This whole update without the EVA collab is like very little. there's like very little content in this update if you don't count the EVA collab. So like, if the next update we don't have EVA collab, we're gonna have a pretty bare bone update, which I guess have happened before. But usually they would still like put it like somewhere in the next update still. Anyways, next up, this is an EVA 01 clone. I don't think I've seen much footage out of this guy. What does he do actually? I haven't seen much of this guy. Have you checked this guy out? Lola?
Huh? Yeah. I had a problem with Steam. Wait a second.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I think it's fine now. It's fine now.
Okay. Good. I was asking. What's this called? Like EVA 13 guy? EVA 13 unit. Did you check this guy out? Chillhola?
Yeah.
What? You okay? Are you sleepy? I am also pretty sleepy.
I didn't have a problem with sleepy because I think my sleep time is like 6 hours later.
Oh my god. Okay. I'm the one who's supposed to be sleepy, but I've turned on streamer mode. Did you?
Okay, I think it's fine now.
Okay, so did you check this guy out? Did you check the EVA 13 unit out? I have very little information about this guy.
It had a search, yeah. In the mini search thingy, it has a little HP boost. That's all I can know.
Multi-hit?
It have like a little stat boost, little the mini search immune thingy, but most of the time is it's just a decent unit, in my opinion.
Mini search between 400 to 700. Oh.
Okay, I mean, Evangelion, this unit is not that good anyways in this meta. Then these two forms make it a decent unit a bit. Yeah, because of like searching and yeah, that's all.
Does a search spawn between 400 and 700? Does that seem good? That does seem good actually. That does seem like a pretty nice spot to spawn the search on.
It's a little mini search with not guarantee chance. It's 30% or something.
30? Oh no, it's 50%. I mean,
okay.
Oh wait, 50% chance to create a level 1 mini search. That's...
Yes, as I said, it's like a little boost, like 25 damage boost around that, 25%.
Yeah, that's not that good, I guess. Oh, but he does multi-hit. Okay, I get it now. So it's like 50-50-50?
Is it a new unit or a true form of EVA 13?
Sorry.
Unit, right?
Sorry, what?
Is it a new unit, right?
Yeah, this is the new unit, yeah.
Okay, I heard that this unit is pretty suck ass.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah. I heard it had a low damage, and I heard someone rant about it.
Okay, well,
I mean, I heard from Jones that if you want to make him useful, you have to boost it to like more than level 40 or something like that.
Oh. Okay, I wanna see if I can get the GIF of this guy. How do I do that again? I need to look this up again. P help enemy give P enemy give. What's this guy's code? 710. 710 M attack. Does this work? What the fuck? None of this are 710. Wait, what? What am I doing wrong? P enemy give 710. This is 710, right? Or is this not out yet? P enemy give 710 minus attack. What the fuck? Jones has a Jones has a video. Okay, yeah, probably should just check Jones' video then. Let's see. Unit 13 strikes. Ah, this guy, EVA Unit-13. Okay. Video? Firefox is frozen? Firefox is not responding. Oh wait, okay. Wait, what? That's a multi-hit?
Yeah, it's like 3 multi-hit.
What? Oh, is it like
It's
just a
like
very fast
five
multi-hit?
frame. It's like 5 frame separate.
Oh, that's weird. Oh, I always don't like that kind of multi-hit. That kind of multi-hit sucks. It does attack pretty often, but I don't like that kind of multi-hit.
I mean, it's still lack of damage in general.
What is his damage actually? Hold on.
I'm pretty sure his
DPS
damage is pretty low. I mean, it's extremely low for its standard.
5.2k is okay. 460 range, 5.2k. That's not too bad. Multi-hit, but the multi-hit sucks. The DPS, if this isn't a multi-hit unit, I think the DPS would have been fine. But the fact that it's a multi-hit unit that have like 5 frame in between, that sucks. I always don't like that kind of thing, because it's like if you knock back in literally one of the damage, you just lose damage immediately. And like chances are you're not really spreading your attack. It's like it's something like Twin Stars, for example, where it's like, yeah, if you knock back an enemy, they're not gonna get hit by the other attacks, but also the other attacks usually would actually like often interrupts oncoming enemy often, and it kind of just works as kind of like a defensive tool. But this one just doesn't really do anything in terms of like actually helping the unit. This one is just straight out not good. This is just a not good multi-hit. It does have pretty good HP. Knockback is only 3 times though. That's not great. Strong against
I think
Aku.
no one care about HP if you come with like backliner thing. It's barely matter in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it does have really good health, but it probably doesn't really matter in like the grander scheme of things. What is this cost? This cost is 4,320. That's kind of cheap actually. That's not that pricey at all. Recharge time is 164 seconds. Okay, that's kind of long. That's like almost Iron Legion long. EVA Angel Killer immune to Sword strong against Aku enemies. Okay, I think they're just... I assume... This guy's kind of just like made for the collabs. Because like having a gigantic health and also yeah, having the gigantic health and like no LD, I think is basically just made so that you're not gonna like miss the fucking shits like EVA 13 that have like really low range. Yeah, this unit doesn't look that good. I mean, you could definitely use it in like mid game, but like,
nah, the game is not that good, you know.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. I really don't like this kind of multi-hit. This kind of multi-hit is always bad. Like, okay, wait, is it that? Yeah, okay, yeah, I see the multi-hit. Yeah, I don't like that multi-hit. That multi-hit is always not great. Even weaker than Cyclops, excuse me? How many DPS does Cyclops have? What the fuck? Wait, what? Come on, if the weakest damage does even worse than Cyclops. Wait, but the DPS is literally higher. Wait, what? I don't understand. Wait, what? I don't understand. What does this mean? What did Jones mean by this? EVA 13 has the weakest damage stats, even worse than Cyclops and Yoshimoto, but in here... Oh, like, you're talking about damage per hit. Okay, damage per hit is a bit of a weird thing to compare. I mean, that's definitely good for like certain Akus, but also, yeah, it's still not great for Akus, I guess, because like you try not to, as much as possible, you don't want Akus to have as much knockback, right? I guess that makes sense. Yeah, in general, I think this multi-hit sucks. But especially against Aku, it extra sucks, I guess. It does have strong against, but that's not that. Yeah, that might not be that good. It doesn't really help his case, I think. That's surprisingly not good, huh? You can definitely still use him against Akus, but I think it's just like probably not your best options if you have other options, I guess. You have to keep in mind his effective stats, it's only 12k at level 50, no surge immune. He is surge immune though. No surge immune, no shield pierce. I mean, I don't really know level 50 stats, so I don't really know level 50 stats. I'm just looking at level 30 stats. I kind of already understand this DPS is alright. But the problem is, I think like the DPS, this DPS, I think in my opinion is fine, especially with that attack range. But the multi-hit, yeah, but the multi-hit in the field, the multi-hit would make the DPS theoretically lower, which sucks. Even with the search, it's like the midi search is like not consistent, and also it's only a mini search, which isn't that great. I guess him on Accusation was miserable. To be fair, I can say the same to Cyclops. I tried getting Cyclops on like several Aku stages and it was like, oh my god, please proc! That's his issue, idiot uses Spirit of the Hammer, stupid. That is true. Why didn't they just stab him? Okay, that's kind of unfortunate. This design is sick. But yeah, apparently it's kind of sort of mid. You can definitely use him, but probably one of the weaker anti-Aku Ubers, I guess you can say. I recently just true formed Satoru. Jesus Christ, I can feel the power.
Hey, you was like Satoru in your main sale?
I did it off stream, but yeah, because I was really curious how Satoru's true form is. So I did true form him off stream.
It's broken.
It's so busted against Aku, actually insane.
I mean, it's not as broken as Lilin, but yeah, it's still broken.
I don't really know the comparison, because like, Lilin does have like shorter range and the surge is a little bit RNG, but also Satoru, it's like 50% chance, not guaranteed. But yeah, Satoru also has CC.
Actually, hit knockback, so I love Lilin more in that way. And Lilin is better in killing the bear if there is no like peon in the stage.
Yeah, that makes sense. I used him on Aku Enigma stage, the Aku Orb one. And I did 2 runs on that. One run, he literally just got sniped to death by Aki. The other run, I managed to like stack like 2 of them, and he just like destroys the stage basically by himself, which is insane. Also, Dober, thank you for the Prime Sub. It's really very interesting unit, but also really fucking good for sure. Okay, that's all for EVA 13 unit. Kind of an unfortunate case of being mid, despite being cool, but you can definitely still use them on like certain situations for sure. Oh, next up, this is everyone's favorite, Bright Luga. We got a new waifu, let's go! Let me get a drink real quick.
I heard. I can feel it. I can feel like I will get a copyright soon.
Do you want me to skip this just for the sake of your YouTube?
Nah, it's fine. It's fine. Let's keep going. I will cut this video private anyways.
You can cut the VOD. Okay, yeah, probably. Oh, I don't think we've talked about this yet, but like, I was talking about I was talking to Chillhola earlier about this. The Bright June event. Currently from this update, we have basically seen everything is basically readily available except for the June Bright, and June Bright is where you can get Clown and you can get
The new look.
Yeah, you can get the new Clown and also the new Balaluga. So usually Ponos doesn't like it when there's videos on YouTube of unreleased content. So technically all of these are released except for these two. So by covering these two, we are putting Chillhola's channel at risk.
Nah, that's fine. I will set it private anyways.
you better set it fast after this. Yeah.
And I will set it public again when everything is released.
Yeah, you can just like edit these out or something like that. I'm probably still gonna keep it because like Ponos haven't slapped me yet. Okay, Bright Balaluga. I forgot the stats of this, but I do remember this guy have damage for some reason. Yeah. Okay, Bright Balaluga. First form is useless, but it's cute because look at it. It's actually kind of just fucking cute. It's kind of adorable. Okay, this is Bright Balaluga's evolved. Health is what you expect. Damage for some reason is it. Okay, I should compare it with like normal Balaluga. Normal Balaluga's damage is like, I'm pretty sure, not even like 1,000, I'm pretty sure, right?
It had 15 DPS.
Yeah. Yeah, normal Balaluga have 11 DPS. I would say it's a pretty big buff to go from 11 DPS to 3000 DPS, like, holy shit.
It got like range nerf.
It has like 300 times more damage, which is insane. But the range is less, yeah.
The damage is divided by 3 because it's multi-hit.
But the... what?
It had multi-hit. It had multi-hit.
Yeah, but at least this one have like big range, so you can actually hit like almost... well, not almost, but like you can hit like a lot of things. It is, what do you call this thing again? Like the expanding... fucking... is there even a term for this? Like the expanding Omni-Strike shit?
No.
Okay, no, I'll just call it expanding Omni-Strike then.
The Blizzana thingy. Yeah, the first one is Blizzana, so I will call it like that.
The what?
The Blizzana.
the Blizzana effect, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't looked at it that much, so I don't actually fully know what people's like thinking about this, and also you technically can't get this unit yet on JP, so we haven't really seen much footage out of it. But yeah, in terms of like, I'm pretty sure like frame data, it is very similar to Balaluga. It's about what you expect. It's slow movement, all that stuff. Oh wait, you have better attack frequency. I didn't realize that. Oh, okay. Balaluga have 16 seconds attack frequency. This one have 10 seconds attack frequency. So I guess it would technically freeze more often, but also the duration is less. But also this is multi-hit? No, wait. The freeze is only at the last 1 second. Okay, never mind. From what I understand, from what people say, it's... okay, I actually have no idea what to say about this. What do you think about this?
I have no idea, to be honest. But I think I think this is kind of nerf from like the normal Balaluga because of the range. Maybe.
Yeah.
What is the standard of Balaluga anyways?
I personally really like Picolon. Picolon, before like the whole, well, not before, but more like if you don't count like the obvious top tier Ubers like Lupalon and Shishilan, I Balaluga is still like probably I regard Balaluga pretty highly in terms of like Lugas. Like even I would even argue that maybe I would use Picolan more than like Shishilan. One thing that I really like about Picolan specifically is that I am personally a big fan of Weaken. I think Weaken is a very underrated ability, and I generally really like the idea of freezing and then weaken, because in my opinion this also changed really well for Awakened Behemoth, for example, where like the freeze allows Awakened Behemoth to get in, and then the weaken allows the Awakened Behemoth to survive longer. That I really like, and I don't think people talk about it that much. But nowadays I think a lot of people use like Asi-Luga more, if anything, because Asi-Luga is just like way easier to use because it literally have like a billion range. Other than that, yeah, there's a big range difference. There's like 300 range difference, which definitely matters in terms of like being a Luga. I think Neko-Luga, what range is Neko-Luga? Neko-Luga is like around 602, right?
Around 700, maybe.
Oh, wait, really? 700? Like, I already feel that Neko-Luga's range is kind of not great, and that's like one of the main reasons.
Maybe I got confused with like Toke-Luga.
No, I'm pretty sure Toke-Luga is like...
just comment me that it had like it's pretty worse than the normal Picolan.
Yeah, it's 650. It is pretty similar to Bright Balaluga then. Because like I do remember every time I use Ultraland, one of the main things, aside from like the obvious terrible attack rate, is also just the fact that he stands really close or something.
Like, less freeze duration, right?
Less what?
Freeze duration.
Compared to Picolan, yeah, but I think Neko-Luga is more to like the knockback side, right? Because the knockback is pretty important, I would say, to be able to like knock back certain backliners, but I always feel like Ultraland's range is not great at it because he barely outrages certain backliners, and also he dies like relatively quickly compared to like other units. On one hand, I kind of get it because it's like, well, knockback obviously pushes the enemy back, so you kind of have like more time and all that stuff, but also that's not really how it works most of the time. I don't really like the range. This feels unsafe. This doesn't feel that safe. And also, especially from the fact that like the range too is an expanding range. It is an Omni Strike, so it does like hit farther than it hits, but this definitely worsens his... wait, no. Oh wait, no, the Omni Strike doesn't go farther. Okay, never mind, the Omni Strike sucks.
Yeah, the Omni Strike sucks because like the first and the second hit pretty close range.
Oh, I thought it goes a little bit farther. Okay, no, never mind, the Omni Strike sucks then. But it is kind of funny that like the Omni Strike goes to minus 960 though.
Someone I heard someone like argue this to use against the zombie or something like that.
It would be pretty funny if you could just like, yeah, you bring him to like a Haka stage or some shit like that, and then like Haka's on the base, but then you got Balaluga all the way in the front, and then it hits Haka all the way in the back. The new base defender unit, exactly. And it doesn't look that good, even with like, oh haha, it have 300 more DPS than Balaluga. It's not really it's not really something that good. And it's an event unit, and event units are generally not that great. It is super discount Balaluga. I can't even really think like where you would really use it that often. I think like one of the main thing about Lugas in general is
buff
like... sorry, what?
the buff. Midlaner.
No. What I want to say is that, like, if you the thing about Lugas in general is that the big question that you should ask is, if I use Cyberpunk, will I still value this unit? And I think the answer for this one is no. Just like, even something like Luga or Luga, like even if I use Cyberpunk, Luga just increases the effectiveness of the slow even more. And then Luga offers something that Cyberpunk cannot, which is like letting rushers coming in. This one just sucks. I think this one just sucks. You can probably still use it, but it is definitely like on the lower usage of Ubers, I would say. Even with like DPS, and you might be able to use it if you want to chip down. Okay, hypothetical situation where, for example, oh, I know of a stage. I just thought about this. Recently I just completed probably the worst subchapter of all time. You know what that is?
Yes.
Which one is it?
Yeah, I saw you rant about it a lot. Those kind of.
Yeah, I was doing like I actually forgot what the name of the chapter is. It's the one with Fire Kingdom Dynamite, but that's not the stage that I'm thinking about.
Oh, wait. Do you mean Dead Heatland or something?
Yeah, that Heatland.
Why you hate it?
Fucking, I don't know, the stage just sucks. Wait, no, not that Heatland. Was it Rose-Colored Road?
No, I mean, if you ask about the Fire Dynamite Kingdom is in the Dead Heatland.
Oh, no, I'm thinking about I'm talking about the next one. I'm talking about Rose-Colored Road, yeah. Okay, I'm just looking up Battle Cats now. You know what stage I was thinking about?
Ashen just ahead. Right?
Yeah! You can definitely use it for Ashes Just Ahead. Because, like, for Ashes Just Ahead, I literally true form Little Yandem just for this stage. This is like the one time that I actually look at Little Yandem and was like, huh, I should use this guy. But like, he's not true form, so I true form him just for this guy. Just for the stage. And you know what? If you have this unit, congratulations, you can do Ashes Just Ahead. It's good for Ashes Just Ahead. This Uber is fine. Yeah, I think it's not terrible, but it's I wouldn't even say it's that great either. But like, you can definitely find usages out of him because he's a big range Uber. So yeah, it's just got range. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it exists. It exists. Okay, I think that's about all for this one. Wow, we are 1 hour and 20 minutes in, and we've talked about like 3 units.
You want to speed up?
We probably should speed it up a little bit. But the next Luga is a big thing, I think. So we're probably after this. There isn't that much that I wanted to talk about. Like, okay, Brockhead true form. I think it's a pretty big deal. This one I probably won't talk about that much. This one, I don't think it should be talked about too much. This one isn't too much either. Aqua Researcher is a pretty big one too, though. Xunchun, oh man, never mind. All of these are good, except for like Clown. Shit. Okay, I'm just gonna try to make it a little bit faster. Okay, next Luga. This is Kao-Luga, if I'm not mistaken. I think this is a Japanese name. This is Big Head. Kao, I think, means face. So Kao-Luga is the face Luga. Whether it's a cat or mysterious something else, the mysterious character's true nature cannot be completely unknown. Always releases minute surge, occasionally blows away enemies. I should... There's a thing here that I can show that I need to Google my own channel for. It's this thing. Where do you work out? At the library. I don't have this ready, unfortunately, but you can yeah. I'll copy the post. There we go. Okay. Tauran Masalan. this is Big Headed Luga. If I'm not mistaken, his attack animation is that he literally drops his head and then he blows air or some shit like that. Like he literally, his head just falls off and he catches the head. I think that's the animation. Once again, oddly big DPS for a Luga. Literally the Luga version of a normal Dasley. Okay, I don't know about that description, but that actually oddly fits, but also not really. It's a Luga, so obviously what you'd expect, 1 knockback, no health, no immunity for whatever reason, obscenely long recharge time, because Ponos hates Luga. This is weird. I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of.
But I mean I like the DPS. I think this DPS with this range is pretty big deal for me, and it had like level 6 mini surge, right? So
yeah,
time with 220% of the damage. I think this is a good unit. I think it's similar to like Luga, yeah. Right?
Yeah, I'm thinking if it's like crossing between like Summer Luga and like Kubi Luga, I guess, because like Summer Luga doesn't have an ability, right? But Kubi Luga have a knockback that also transfer together with the modifier being like wave for Kubi Luga, mini thirst being this guy, except for this guy. The knockback isn't even guaranteed, so his main thing is actually legitimately just the damage, which I think is kind of funny.
And the surge is good enough on clearing Pion because he has like pretty good base damage anyway.
What is his damage per hit? His damage per hit is 51,000. So
I think it's around 80,000 on level 50.
Oh, 80,000. That means mini surge is like 20%, so it would be right.
16k.
16k, that's pretty good, yeah. I guess for a level 50 standard, that's not too big, but considering this is level 6, it lasts quite a while. Certain enemies might get hit more than once, even if they just run past through. Because this is obviously, like, chances are it's not gonna hit a certain enemy that you want to hit, right? Chances are it's probably gonna hit, like, peons that are moving, right? And I think like peons that are moving, if they're not like Gabriel fast, they might get hit multiple times with the mini surge, so that would be pretty good. Yeah, that definitely would be pretty good, especially if the peons get knocked back too. 710 range is pretty good. I kinda hope that it's a bit more, but I think this is fine for now. There's no LD, attack animation, attack rate is 13 seconds, which is pretty standard for Lucas, I think. I think it's a little bit fast even for Lucas. Well, not really, but like, it's alright for Lucas. There's worse Lucas with worse attack frequency. I guess this is kind of like a unit where you can't really use the DPS as a good check. Yeah, because like it's more like a utility unit, right? Yeah, it's kind of like a utility unit where it's more for disruption, like you said, for like Bikini Elan, right? Whereas like you can't really look at Bikini Elan's DPS and say it's like, oh yeah, this is big damage. It's like, well, technically not really, but also technically yes. Technically yes, but also not really. It's definitely like one of those units where, yeah, it functions very differently compared to a lot of other units. Very interesting unit for sure. Is there anything else that should be talked about? I mean, I think the one thing that's also kind of funny is the fact that even though it's a 20% chance of knockback, with the way how wave and search works, is that the chance is determined on the first hit, so that even if you're like Gabriel fast, there's a 20% chance that the search will always knock something back, and will always knock the enemy back. So even if you're like Gabriel fast and you can tank through the search, you will get knocked back and you're gonna get hit by the search again. And I think that's very interesting. because like that just means, you know, even more damage. Yeah, pretty cool unit, honestly. At least it sounds cool. I don't know if it's actually cool, but it sounds interesting. It sounds like you can definitely use him on like certain stages and just kind of get lucky. And if you get lucky, you can like destroy the enemy formation really badly, especially if you get like the chance to knockback. Definitely not bad, but it's hard to say that this is reliable. It's hard to say that it's reliable. I would say this is like one of those units where if you have 9 slots and you think like you're set and you just need like one more unit that you think is gonna help, then you just bring this unit and like he'll help. I think that's the kind of thing that that's the kind of vibe that I have with him. Yeah, I think that's about it for this guy. It's a Luga. It's weird. Lugas are always weird. They're always hard to judge in general. This one I think is especially hard to judge, but I would say that doesn't sound too bad at least. Okay, let's move on. So I can actually finish this in like not like 6 hours. New ancient egg. This is me while I'm using Twitter. This is you playing Battle Cats. This is everyone on Twitter actually. It's you guys remember Exorcist? Yeah. You guys remember how Exorcist is on a monthly event gacha? Yeah. You remember how good Exorcist is?
No.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, okay, I should probably show the stats first. This is what is the name of this guy? Neko Piero. Oh, okay. Piero, Clown Cat. Okay, I should show the attack animation because like the attack animation is actually kind of cool. How do I get the attack animation? The enemy give 713 minus M attack. No, it doesn't work. What the fuck? How do I get enemy gift by using? How do I get enemy gift by using? Sorry, what?
You want me to help finding the gift?
I'm trying to use Catbot. I'm trying to use Pack to find the enemy gift. But I don't know how to get the gift when the unit has no name. I'm trying to use the ID, but the ID doesn't work either. How do I do this?
You can use this?
Use what? Oh.
Yeah, the one I sent you.
Oh, okay, thank you. Right. Let's see. How do I show this again? Hold on. Online media player? No, if I put the link, it'll just download it, which is kind of stupid. But yeah, I do have like this website bookmark just so that yeah, there we go. That's a good ass animation. It's really good. It's so fucking funny. It's really good. Not what I expected at all, and it's such a shame because this unit sucks. But the animation is so good. I really like the animation, but the unit sucks. Unfortunate that such like a good ass animation resides on a unit that is not good. So this is the egg. It has 300 range and recharge time is 9 seconds, which is actually pretty good. Relatively pretty stackable. But he has no damage. Sorry, what?
It has no damage, but I think it's work on like it has no strike, right?
Yeah, okay, yeah. So that's the thing about this unit. It's the fact that like this, yeah, he has no damage, but he has Soul Strike, which in turn is pretty useless. You can clear Zolos. Ooh, cool. Okay. It has Zombie Killer, it has Soul Strike, it has Behemoth Slayer, Not that it's gonna do much, even with Behemoth Slayer multiplier, it's not gonna do any damage whatsoever. It's not really gonna tank any Behemoth whatsoever. It is 300 range, is pretty good. I can at least appreciate the fact that it's sort of, you can use it for Cyclone. I can appreciate the fact that you can use it for Cyclone. Because technically speaking, it's not too terrible for CC. I think the recharge time for a CC is a little bit long, but at least it actually does its work where it actually slows enemy for 3 seconds. Like, I think a lot of like these sort of like shitty units, they would usually just slow shit for like 1 second or 2 seconds. It's actually slowed for like 3 seconds. Yes, there's a 30% chance, but I think that's fair. I think like 30% chance to slow for like 3 seconds, especially on a unit that actually has like a decent standing range, I think that's fair. But also, what zombie are you actually gonna use it on is the big question. And the other question is, what zombie, like if you have Volter, are you really gonna use this guy? Were you gonna say something?
I think it's about using on like a little zombie peon in case you don't have any CQ.
But like I think a lot of zombie peons, you kind of just want to go for the kill for the most part, don't you?
Maybe, but most of the time we use like Twitch Man or something. I mean, most of the time I use like Twitch Man killing peon and leave the corpse and yeah.
And then you slow the corpse too.
Kill the corpse again.
I don't think it's like the worst unit ever, but yeah,
I will not use it.
Yeah. You can definitely try to find some use out of it, like maybe floor 43 to slow the Dreadbore, but also just use Shigong and Power Surge. Yeah, I think it's like a technically usable unit in a way. I think the problem is that like there's very little zombies that you actually would care enough to CC. Seriously, the only thing that I can think of is like Cyclone. But Cyclone appears in like a total of like 3 stages. So, well, I guess like 5 stages if you include the Ratan Revenge. It's like Cyclone, Rat Revenge, floor 28 and floor 42. And none of those are like hard stages at all. So, maybe if you get it like very early game, and then you can, what's the true form requirement actually? Maybe if you can get it early game. Oh, it's 10. Oh, never mind. Oh, that's, I mean, that's not much, but for early game, that's kind of, yeah, never mind. That's not much, but for early game, that's also kind of a lot. It's kind of cheap if you are farther in the game. But I was thinking of like maybe if you don't have any option for like Cyclone, you can use it. But this is going to be a unit that you're going to use for Cyclone and literally basically nothing else. And I can't say I would recommend giving away 10 purple and 10 reds just to do Cyclone. I guess if you're like desperate, you can definitely like, you're stuck on like a metal stage and like you badly need wages. It's like, yeah. And it's like, you don't have Gardener, you don't have Volter. It's like the absolute worst scenario. You can definitely use this guy to deal with Cyclone. And I don't think he would be bad at it. I think he would actually be pretty good for Cyclone. Pretty stackable. You can definitely stack him on the first zombie. Pretty stackable, good range, pretty decent chance to slow. And the slow duration isn't too terrible. But that's probably like the only stage that you're ever going to use it on. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, I don't want to talk about it that much anymore. We're running out of time. let's just move on. True forms. Okay, let's talk about the EVA true forms first. So this, and this. EVA true form. Rei Ayanami, Rei have long hair now. That's kind of cute. I don't actually know what her changes are. What is her change? HP increased and is now... Wait, what? Wait, was she...
She has dodge.
Oh, she didn't have strong against before. Okay, so now strong and dodge against Angel. That's interesting, actually. Wait, strong against Angel. That's pretty good. Strong against Angel, 27k HP, 3000 DPS. That's not bad. That's pretty good, actually. 20% chance to dodge Angel. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Yeah, that's not too bad, actually. So I guess with the damage multiplier, that would be around 1.8 times damage. So 2.9, 1.8 times, around like 3 point something, 3 point, nearly 4k, I guess. Nearly 4k DPS, or it is 4k DPS. No, it is 4k DPS, around somewhere around there, right? Yeah, that's a pretty good damage for a 300 range anti-angel. Oh, but the recharge is kind of long. But there is dodge. It's kind of like a mini Juvence, isn't it?
But she didn't have like 50% dodge or something, right?
Well, okay, no, but it is 20% dodge, but it does seem to work relatively similar to Juvence. What is the cost? Oh, it's only 3 yellow fruits. Okay, that's very cheap. Oh, this looks pretty good. Yeah, I think this looks like a pretty good unit. Good. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I think it's just a pretty good unit. 10% chance to dodge Angel, strong against, so her health is significantly better. You can kind of maybe like tank Sleipnir a little bit if you're lucky, and then do a little bit of a pretty good damage. Yeah, it's pretty good. May not really deal with Sleipnir and Chick-fil-A that well, but you can definitely use her for Angel Peons if you don't have Mushroom. And maybe even use for like Rajakong. Yeah, really? I think it's pretty good. What did you say?
No, I just surprised that you said you use against Rajakong or something.
Yeah, I mean, Rajakong does wave, but also you can kind of mitigate the wave. I usually bring Octo against Rajakong. You can definitely like mitigate, at least like slightly minimize the wave. It's like, and even if she gets wave, she still have a chance to dodge, and she is strong against, so I think she can definitely like tank the wave. Like if you have Mushroom, yeah, sure, you can probably just destroy it regardless, but like maybe if you don't have Mushroom yet, or maybe if you just want to kill Rajakong even faster, this seems like a pretty valid choice, I would say. Someone said Wing Piggy counter. No, just because she's weak and immune. Well, I mean, you can use her to like chip Wing Piggy, but I wouldn't recommend it because I'm pretty sure not that long Wing Piggy is just gonna kill her anyways. It's probably better to just use 350 range units against Wing Piggy. Yeah, I think it's a pretty good unit. I think that's about all. It's a good anti-angel. It's a good anti-angel peon melee enemies whatsoever. Yeah, pretty good unit. Very cheap too. Next up, EVA Unit-01. This one also gets a spear instead of the 2-prong spear. Sorry, what?
No, nothing. I just I do not keep myself asleep or something.
Ketsui no Eva Shoguki and no Neko. Determine EVA Unit-01 and Cat. What is the change? Oh right, I remember seeing this. This is crazy. These are pretty good changes. So he has survive lethal now, and his strength goes from 100 to 150, and also a chance to mini search. That's pretty good. Previously, EVA 01 was already relatively good,
Nah. I think it's not that good anymore. Despite that, the current meta is it is a reset unit now. It's not that good anymore, in my opinion.
I think what made him good before is how
barrier break. It's about barrier break and some CQ.
Yeah, barrier breaker was actually like kind of a big deal back then, before breaker blast exists. Barrier break was actually kind of a big deal because like you actually have to spend a slot for a barrier breaker, and having EVA 01 that literally doubles as both a barrier breaker and a zombie killer was like, it made him like very versatile even with his lack of stats. But nowadays it's not too terribly hard to get a zombie killer or just owning a breaker blast cannon. So he definitely fell off, but I think he's still like one of the main things I really like about EVA 01 was that his attack rate is actually pretty good. I like that about him, but he definitely needs an improvement to catch up with the meta, I guess you can say. The DPS. Wait, earlier there was a mention that like the DPS changed from 3450 to 3475. What the fuck is the deal with this?
The surge.
Oh, that. Oh, this counts. Wait, this counts the. Wait, what? Why would that be listed here? What the fuck? That's weird. Why is this listed here? Don't list this. Don't list surge as part of your DPS. What the fuck, Wiki? No, don't do that. That's weird. Just list your base DPS. Yeah, I think this kind of... I don't know why this reminds me of like Ganesha, but not really. It's not... No, I don't think Ganesha is a good comparison. Who else is... Oh, Akira! That's what I'm thinking about. This reminds me of Akira. Does Akira also have... Akira also somewhat relies on Strengthen and also have Survive Lethal, or at least with talents. I think he has Survive Lethal, right? And with this previously, his damage with Strengthen... He Strengthened at 50% health. With Strengthen it would be 7k previously, and now it'd be 10.5, somewhere around there. 7, yeah, around 10.5k DPS level 30, which is pretty good. But it wouldn't really work with just that, I think. So I think having like the Survive Lethal is also really, really good. I think the one main thing that I'm thinking is kind of a shame is the fact that it doesn't have wave immunity or surge immunity, but I don't think it really actually needs that either. The mini surges...
It's really relevant because it's like low chance, and like it's a mini surge. What do you expect about it?
The range seems pretty good, at least. 400 and 700 seems like a pretty good range to spawn the surge. But yeah, it's a 30% chance for chip damage. It's a 30% chance for the chip damage. That's kind of...
Okay, so if you count like the DPS from the surge, you get like 6% damage boost.
Wow, that's crazy. 6% damage boost if it actually lands on the enemy that you want to hit.
Yeah, that's all about the mini surge. That's why I said it's irrelevant AF.
I mean, it exists. Would you say that this unit is like pretty good now? I think it's alright. I think a lot of the time... Okay, what do you think? What do you think about this?
I think it's still a decent unit, but I think it's kinda good now. I think I would rank around A tier if it have a tier list. No, maybe lower than a bit, but yeah.
Yeah, I think one of my one of like the main trend is, I would say, is that like if a unit doesn't have like overwhelmingly insane amount of damage like Balrog, or shit like rushing capabilities like Yukimura, if they're like a generalist, if they don't have LD or wave or surge, they're usually outclassed even by units that have less damage by them, just purely because LD is like bonkers. Like LD is just like absolutely insanely powerful. But yeah, but the main thing about this guy is that like this guy's way of being able to have a reach is a 30% chance of a mini surge. It helps, but sure wouldn't help that much. It's 6%. Ooh. I think like even with the overwhelming amount of damage, it's definitely not bad. It absolutely is not bad at all. It's definitely at least good, but it probably isn't that strong. It doesn't feel that terribly strong, which is kind of insane to think about, considering I'm talking about like a unit that have like nearly 10k DPS, or at least like basically around 10k DPS on strength and with 460 range, which is usually unheard of. But it's literally purely just because I think no LD, no wave, no surge usually hurts the generalist pretty bad. What's the true form requirement? What epic? Oh, epic seed. One epic seed and one Aku fruit. Okay. It's not the worst thing that you can use epic seeds on, I guess. That's a bit hard to get. Post SOL only. Technically, you can get epic seed before SOL. I don't remember how.
The collab one, the Messiah.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Can't you get it with tower?
Yeah, yeah. Infernal Tower also dropped it.
Oh, right. I think it was like, is it like floor 10 and 20 have a chance to drop epic seed? I think, right? And Baron?
Yeah,
Does Baron give?
30%. Yeah.
Yeah. Does Baron give epic seed?
I don't recall that.
Just beat a Baron, Infernal Tower and Baron maybe? Oh yeah, I guess it did. Does it drop at like 18? Is that what? Is that it? I think it drops at 18 now, wasn't it? Yeah, 18 is epic seed. Okay, yeah. 18 is epic seed, and I think 19 was the rare ticket, and 20 is the Dark Eyes. I think that's what it was. Also, Aku Citadel. Oh yeah, but Aku Citadel. Wait, Aku Citadel? I thought Aku Citadel mainly drops Cat's Eyes though. Yeah, Aku Citadel drops Dark Eyes. Yeah. So yeah, technically you can use it. You can get it before SOL, but you do have to deal with relatively hard stage first. Is it worth it? I mean, if you are post SOL, if you can farm epic seed, these are like pretty easy to get once you're post SOL. It's not a bad unit, but I don't know how much you would actually use him. He still has Zombie Killer, and I think Zombie Killer is generally just really, really good. Especially on a unit with big range, because that's like one of the few things that you can use for like an Everbear. But I feel like even with before the true form, he's already relatively decent against Cadaver Bear. So, it's okay. It's alright. It's not the craziest true form, I think. It's not the craziest true form, but it's pretty good. Next up, Enon Wonder. I have not looked at this guy at all. What is your true form name? Kamigoroshi no Fune, and then Neko and the God Killer Ship. Holy shit! Oh, it is called Kamigoroshi. That's so cool. That's a badass name. What the fuck? Kamigoroshi no Fune. It's literally God Killer Ship, the God Slayer. Jesus! That's fucking badass. That's actually really badass. What the fuck? What is your change? HP increase, DPS increase, 6,600. That's a pretty big leap. TBA decrease, speed increased, and slow immune. Okay, basically stat buffs then. 6.6k D. Oh wait, you're 400 range. I totally forgot. I mean, I mean, you're better. 6,600. I think the no range buff kinda hurts, but
Okay, to be fair, I never used this unit before too, because like it's not that good for, in my opinion. I mean, because of the range, yeah.
yeah.
The range, and I mean the stat buff is okay, I guess, but it's still like a decent unit in my opinion.
I think like from what I remember, even with like before True Form, I remember people using NNN Wonder on like certain Angel and Zombie stages, and they work fine. Because like, for example, Angels, like some of the main threats are like Slipner and Chick-fil-A. At least like the long range ones are like Slipner and Chick-fil-A, and they're like, yeah, ranges, and that works because like massive damage is a busted ability, and it's still like 20k DPS, and that's still like pretty high DPS. And now the DPS is even better, so that's good. But also, I think they already work even before the True Form anyways, and this doesn't really increase their usability, I would say. Attack frequency cut is good.
Really?
Well, I mean, in general, attack frequency cut is good in my opinion. That's what I mean. But 400 range still. I think like the main problem was that, and then Wonder previously is like, even if you're good against like Angel and Zombie, you're previously, and then Wonder was like, you were good against Angel and Zombie, but there are better units for it, and also you're basically nearly worthless outside of Angel and Zombie. The impression I get from current NNN Wonder is that like, you are now better against Angel and Zombie, but outside of Angel and Zombie, you're still not gonna get that much use. Oh my god, I just had a revelation. You know what this unit reminds me of?
Wonder? Or Hit Wonder? No?
Yeah, no, this unit reminds me of Ku.
Oh, okay.
Cause I remember Ku also have like a similar DPS and also similar standing range, and also similar health. I'm pretty sure they have like very similar stats actually. Hold on, let me compare Ku real quick.
But you said like who is existing before like super talent, right?
Yeah. No, obviously before super talent. Look at Ku, 410 range, 5.2 DPS. This is literally, this is even worse than NNN Wonder. Well, I mean, it's like better 10 range, but like she already have like worse health, worse damage, way worse attack frequency, similar movement speed, but yeah, this unit reminds me of Ku, which is not great. That's not a great comparison. Yeah, I think it's like it's definitely usable. True Form, I think previously NNN Wonder was already usable, but like it's mainly gonna be used for the 2 trade targets. I guess you can kind of similarly say the same thing with Ku, which is like previously she wasn't that great, but against Red and Black at least she's usable. You can kind of the same with like AA Wonder and NNN Wonder, where it's like, well, now they're okay. Health is good though, so I guess you can kind of use it to like tank certain shit like Delphina or something. True Form requirement is also not that bad. 3 purple, 3 yellow, 1 epic. It's not the cheapest shit, but also not the priciest shit around either. It's pretty good. If you can spare the fruits for it, I guess. It's okay. I think it's okay. That's about it. Moving on. What's next?
Haku Researcher.
Oh no, we skipped Brock Cat. Beans Cat True Form. We haven't talked about this one yet. Beans Cat True Form. I just noticed the name of the Japanese for these. This one is Mame Mame Yanko. This one is Rabu Rabu Yanko. This one is Baru Baru Yanko. He's also kind of cute. Which, by the way, yeah, we finally got Beans Cat. I think that, if I'm not mistaken, I saw someone saying, okay, currently before this update, Beans was like, the oldest unit without a true form. Currently, I think the oldest unit without true form is Neko? Oh, was there somewhere? I think there was someone before Neko, but I completely forgot. Was it Neko, or was there someone older than Neko? I feel like there was someone older.
Let me check.
Yeah.
Maybe we can find something.
Neko and Unicycle. Unicycle already have true form though.
Coin. Mr. Ninja, right?
I guess that counts. Does that count? I mean, sorta.
I mean, like the Mola Cat.
Okay, well, maybe aside from collabs, then I think there was like a monthly unit, no?
Let me check.
Crazy Neko? Fuck no way. Crazy Neko is not that old. Crazy Neko is relatively new, and well, not really, but like, it's not that old.
It's around 6 years ago, you know.
I guess,
6 years.
But it's not Bean Cat's old.
I think Bean Cat exists around like EOC 2 or something, right?
Wait, who?
Bean Cat.
Oh yeah, Bean Cat has been around for forever, basically.
I think it's the oldest right now without true form.
Neko?
Because I'm not sure about that. I think Bean Cat released around Neko. Yeah.
Oh.
Right.
Someone said Creep Mellow is the next one.
Seriously?
It sounds about right, because Creep Mellow is definitely a very old unit. It might be, I don't know. I need to check like BCU for it. But anyways, so this is Baru Baru Yanko. This is Val Cat. Just for the sake of people not talking about a certain thing, just to compare, this is Valkyrie, because obviously, if you haven't figured it out, the name Val is literally because this is Valkyrie. But this is not what you think. This is not what you think. This is not Valkyrie's. This is not Valkyrie's breast pad. Valkyrie's breast pad is completely different. This is her. This is her head. This is her headdress. This is her crown. Not her breast pad. Her breast pad is different. This is her crown. This is her crown. Stop talking like people. People always shit. It's like, oh, it's Valkyrie titties. Like, no, it's her head. It's her crown. Cope. It's literally her crown. Look. Okay, you have the wings out here. She have the wings on her crown as well. You see that? There's a wing out there. And in the middle, she has like this, the gem thing, like the red gemstone thing. That's also a thing here. In the middle over here. You see that? That's her crown. That's not her titties. That's her crown. At least it should be a crown anyways. What? I haven't even seen her description actually. These two crafts are good friends who learn waves. They enjoy playing in goddess's armor. Has super beast killer, very occasionally knock back red enemies. Okay, yeah, that just spoils out the ability, but sure, that's fine. Anyways, this is Beans Cat true form. His true form, his health doubles. His damage stays the same, his attack range stays the same, attack frequency is the same, movement speed is the same, knockback is the same, attack animation is the same, recharge is the same, but now it's resist to red enemies and also Behemoth Slayer. I think that's the only difference, right? Oh, and also wave attack, yeah. Which is interesting. So basically it's kind of like this weird pseudo tanker that works especially for Behemoth that you can use to also knock back enemies. It's very weird. 4-star Roe, sort of, not really. because the thing about Roe is that Roe actually tanks, and what that means is that Roe doesn't have a lot of knockback and have proper, very good amount of health. Valval's health isn't that much, even with the resist. The health is still kind of just barely okay. With resist times 5 would be 5, 50, 15, 65k on level 30, which is pretty good. But it's not exactly a tanker health, especially with 3 knockbacks and 230 range. It's not really, it's less of a tanker and more like a tanky unit, if that makes sense. I think in comparison, you can kind of say, I'm thinking of like a tanky range unit. Pizza Cat. Pizza Cat is, for example, is kind of like a tanky mid-ranger. Like Pizza Cat have a pretty decent bulk of health, but it's, you know, obviously nobody uses Pizza Cat to tank because that's not what she does. She have big range. She have multiple knockbacks. So you can't use her to tank, and I think that's kind of the same with like Brocat, Valval Cat, where they're tanky, but you don't use it to tank. The tankiness only helps in survivability for the most part. What else is there to talk about? Is there anything you want to talk about here before I move on to him, obviously, against Ahirujo?
The Behemoth Slayer.
Yeah, okay, well, let's talk about the Ahirujo then. It has Behemoth Slayer, so aside from 5% chance to dodge enemies, it also would have 0.6 multiplier, I think? 0.6 multiplier, so on top of the resist, which means that it basically almost double its health against Behemoth. So against Ahirujo specifically, which is a Behemoth red enemy, his health would be around like 100k, I think at the top of my head. It would be around 100k, which is pretty good. You can definitely tank like Ahirujo hits from that. So yeah, I already saw some people in the chat also already said that like so the true form requirement is very cheap. It's only 3 red seed, 3 red fruits, and 1 redstone. I know some of you guys already said that this is like meant to be the Ahirujo counter before you get courier.
You
however,
use raw anyway, right?
Sorry, what?
You use raw anyway, right?
You use what?
Raw cat.
For what? What do you mean?
For him.
Well, no, I'm talking mainly like if you're still like an early game, and you haven't gotten courier. I
you can't even afford. You can't even afford the stone. What do you mean?
Yeah, I mean it's only 1. You just need to beat like at least like 1 stage or something like that, or get it from any other sources, right? But like maybe you can't consistently kill Ahirujo. Maybe you just got lucky and then you get like 1 redstone. The idea is basically it's like a stepping stone to get courier easier.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I think at that point you wouldn't have roll. However, another good argument that I saw someone have was that the thing about Venus, I don't know if this shows here. Okay, wait, no, it doesn't show here. Okay, I don't know if this is showing anywhere, but the problem with the true form is that since this is a fruit evolution, you need level 30. And this is a special cat. So you need user rank 1650 to actually get Beans Cat true form, which in early game isn't too easy to get, I would say. I don't think that's like the easiest thing to get, and like by the time you get 1650 UR, you might not have that much trouble against Ahirujo, I would say. 1650 is easy. I beat Into the Future with like 1000 something. I definitely did not beat Into the Future with 1650, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I beat Into the Future with like much less UR than that. And like if you beat Into the Future 3, you can easily beat Ahirujo. Like, if you say 1650 is easy, then I think beating Ahirujo is even easier. Yeah, because you rushed it, but that also means that you can rush down Ahirujo. Why, if you can rush Into the Future 3, why can't you rush down Ahirujo? You have the returner thing? I don't think that really matters that much though. Yeah, I don't think it really matters that much. It's like, if you say, you could also argue that like, oh, since I have less user rank because I don't upgrade as much units, but like eventually I'm still gonna upgrade everything. And also, if your units are upgraded, that also means that you have easier time against Ahirujo. You can get courier long before 1600 UR. Exactly, that's the thing. Like even if you can beat redstone stages before 1650, yeah, chances are you're not gonna really need Valkyrie that much. This is definitely not like an impossible situation kind of deal. I just think this just means that like this isn't going to be the absolute norm, in my opinion. I think this is still gonna be relatively like I wouldn't say common, but I would say it's a reasonable it's like a reasonable thing that you can do. It's a reasonable thing to suggest, I would say, to other people who might have trouble getting courier or defeating Ahirujo. I think it's a reasonable thing to suggest that like, hey, you can get Valval first, but I don't think this is something that can universally apply to every player, if that makes sense. There's people who get a Behemoth at 700 user rank, so I don't see Beancat really helping. Again, it's like different stroke for different folks, right? You can, I think it's a pretty good chance that you can get courier way before 1650. But yeah, it's definitely also not an unreasonable thing to get beans first before courier. Because like some people might like play, for example, really casually to a point where they get like a lot of monthly cats and a lot of gachas by just playing very slowly, very casually, and get like a lot of free cats without actually like progressing that much. And in that case, their UR are like relatively inflated, but their progress are not. And I think that makes sense to get Valval first before courier. It's like, yeah, makes sense. But it's definitely, I wouldn't say it's like the absolute norm. That's really about it. But other than that though, Chillhola, have you like tried using him or like think about using him on any other thing aside from Ahirujo?
You mean the bracket?
Yeah.
Why do we have to do that? I have rocket anyway.
Well, I mean, you're not gonna use this guy for tanking though.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I mean, I personally hate knockback, so why do I bring this? And we have some better knockback, right? Pirate Catley.
Yeah. So here's the thing about this unit, is that like the other day I was looking at the list of red enemies and I'm thinking, what the fuck do I even want to use this guy on? Berserkori, we have Pirate Cat. Okame, no. Okame have 320 range, she outrages Bean Cat and also would knock Bean Cat back anyways. Doesn't know. Boar, not really. We have a lot of options for Boar. Cappy, not really. It's probably better to rush down Cappy using Courier. Ahirujo, we already talked about that. Crap. Event enemy, Yandom, no. Event enemy. If doesn't matter. Hanya, I'm pretty sure you can't tank Hanya. Well, you can tank Hanya, but Beans is relatively slow. Beans is only like 8 speed, I think. Yeah, Beans is 8 speed, which isn't that good. It's kind of like a normal Mohawk kind of speed, which is not great. So even if you can tank the hits, even if you can survive the hits, you probably wouldn't be able to reach Hanya, which is not great. Deonil sort of works because Deonil is a Behemoth Red, so he have more health against Deonil. And if you want to knock Deonil back, for example, that would be okay. But the problem is Deonil also have a lot of chance to freeze. And Beans is not wave immune, so you do have to use like Octo or something to support it. But even if you have Octo or something to support it, Deonil still have a very fast attack rate, and Beans would literally still have to tank Deonil, and Deonil does freeze a lot. So you can still use it, and I think it's probably like one of the more valid usage for Deonil, for Valval. But even then, it's probably not like the most, it's still not the most reliable thing. And then JJ Jackrabbit doesn't matter. JK Bumban, we have Sanzo. Johnny Leon, we probably don't want to knock back yet. Boar, never mind. Little Yandam, basically event. Lord event. One Horn, Pirate Cat. Doesn't matter. Professor A, similar to Hanya, you can't survive it, you probably can't tank it. If you can't like maybe weaken Professor A, sure, but also another question arises, why would you knock back Professor A? Almost all the time, if you see Professor A, you want this guy dead as soon as possible, and knocking it back is not really the answer. There's very little times where you actually want to knock Professor A back. So yeah. Yeah. It's weird. Reynard, you probably wouldn't be able to reach it because of the search. Red Ball, this event. Red Cyclone, it's fucking Red Cyclone. We have a bajillion counter for it. Okay, Red Energy we're gonna skip for now, because I'm going to return back to that. Event. We have Camera and Sanzo. Doesn't matter. And this is event. Toucan, you probably also don't want to knock it back, but also if you don't want to knock it back, we have Pirate. This is event. Okay, Red Energy. This is the one that I'm thinking that actually works. It's what I thought. Red Energy is the one that I actually saw and think, huh, this is actually valid. This is actually kind of a valid target for Valval, because Valval has wave, so you can reach Red Energy, and you know, you can maybe like sync Red Energy, and Red Energy are generally kind of a bitch to CC, and usually knocking back Red Energy is not a bad choice, because you know, and I thought, well, maybe you can kind of like do some crazy strats with Beans Wave to maybe knock Red Energy back a lot, is what I thought. And then I realized, level 1 wave, is 332.5 range. Red Energy is 370. You cannot snipe Red Energy with the wave. Which, what the fuck? This sucks ass. This sucks. Like I was genuinely like excited to think about like Red Energy. It's like, oh, I can do like some crazy strats where like maybe I can do, like stack up Valval and then use the wave to like perma knockback Red Energy or some shit like that. Like no, his wave doesn't even reach Red Energy. What the fuck? And like you can't tank Red Energy either because Red Energy has knockback. It's like even if you can survive Red Energy, you can't land a hit on him because he has knockback. So, what the fuck? Like, what red enemy are you gonna use Valval on? It is a bit unfortunate that it's like this is a very long-awaited unit, and in the end, it has nearly no usage. It's not great. The usage is like extremely limited. It's super limited. I'm sure there are maybe some situations where maybe you want a extra knockback on board, or you wanna I don't know, you wanna knock back certain red enemies like the red cyclone, and maybe you don't have pirate or some shit. It's like, yeah, sure. But in general, this true form, even though it sounds cool, it is very rarely usable. Cappy? No, because most of the time you don't want to knock back Cappy. A lot of the times you kind of just want to kill Cappy as soon as possible, because if you knock Cappy back, you're just letting him live longer, and yeah, it's like most of the time you just want to kill Cappy fast. Like, what stage would you want to knock Cappy back on? Wave can sink Cappies? You could just kill the Cappies with Courier though. Like, what stage do you can't just think of like an imaginary stage. You have to think of like an actual stage. Roast meats, not cities? Which one is that again? I'm pretty sure I just did that stage, but roast meat, not cities. Oh, that one. You can just use Pirate Cat in that case, no? Actually, I think I did saw Johanne or something earlier post about like getting more range for roast meat, not cities, but also remember that there's a search base in roast meat, not cities. If you probably don't want to knock it too far back either. I can kind of get it for roast meat, not cities, but also there are other ways to do the stage as well that doesn't involve trying really hard to like use Val. I feel like it's a little bit forced to want to use Val. It's just to get it out of the way for Bun Bun? Wait, what do you mean? You mean just to keep Cappy surviving? So that you don't deal with Bun Bun and Aros? Is that it?
Why do they have to do that anyways?
I mean, I kind of get it, because I did try to keep Cappy survive as long as possible too on Roast Meat, not Cities, but I ended up just using Hitman, and Hitman just completely destroys the stage, so... I don't know, I think it's too... It is too silly in my opinion. You want to defeat Bun Bun before dealing with the Aros. Yeah, but... I'm pretty sure I can. Let me check my lineup for Roast Meat, not Cities. I use Manic Wahawk, Manic Eraser, Haniwa, Seafarer, Octo, Bullet Train, Hitman, Doron, Mina, Awakened Behemoth. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Hitman just killed everyone. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a bit forced to try to use Val there. I think it's valid if you want to, but it's not. I don't know. I think it's fine. In terms of like, if you want to use it, that's fine. Obviously, it's good. If you find more usages out of Val, that's good. But I just think that this true form is still a disappointment. I think this true form is generally just a disappointment, especially for like a very long-awaited true form. It's just very short of being good. I think if this is a level 2 wave, it would be so much more valid. But alas, it's only level 1, and it super limits its usage in my opinion. That's about it, really. I think that's about it. So yeah, that's Val. Moving on, next one is... Oh, this is the big one. I kind of want to save Aqua Researcher. I kind of want to save Aqua Researcher just because it's the big one. Let's move on to Chun Chun Hunter first. Chun Chun Hunter, Shitakiri Sparrow gets a true form. what's the true form requirement actually? 1 epic seed and 3 fruits. That's the standard for most Aku Ubers, right? The main thing is that they actually changed the thing that I want him to change, which is that he previously lacks consistency. Now he actually gets the consistency. Now his chance of mini wave goes from 40 to 100, which is pretty fucking nice. This is like the one thing that I really want. It's like I actually did like a whole rant about this guy on stream at one point, and I did mention that like this is the one thing that I really wish is fixed. Literally just fix this, and I think he's solid. And they did literally just that, and I think he's solid. Not solid. Okay, here's the thing about Shitakiri Sparrow. Chinchon Hunter. Chinchon Hunter had a job. Chinchon Hunter has a job. Chinchon Hunter's job is to curse and knockback. Is it an important thing in a lot of cases? Usually no. But here's the thing about Chinchon Hunter was that despite that, he still could have some usages. The problem was that not only that his usage wasn't that important, he wasn't good at it. Like, knockback and curse aren't the most exciting things, but like, if it's consistent, at least he's good at something. But previously, he's not even good at that, because his mini wave sucks. His mini wave is only 40%. But now, with the mini wave being consistent, at least him being able to curse and knockback shit is also consistent, and I think that's good. And because that's literally my main concern about him, which is that like, yes, his usage is limited, but previously his usage is limited and he sucks. But now his usage is limited, but at least he's good at it. That's the thing. It's like, yeah, that's the main thing about him that I previously don't really like. So, like, currently, is he like an amazing unit? Absolutely not. But at least he went from like a inconsistent niche unit to at least a consistent niche unit. He is still, I do like him on like Axial, for example, but like obviously that's kind of like a very specific usage. But previously my main gripe was that he's not consistent with the wave. He wasn't able to snipe Axial much at all. But with this, he actually is able to consistently snipe things, because his wave is actually consistent, and that's good. And that also basically kind of like, you know, increases the DPS a little bit, but that's not really what you use Shitakiri Sparrow for. But yeah, that's really the main thing. And obviously, stat buff is good. You're probably still not going to use it for damage, but health buff is nice to increase survivability in general because he's pretty fast. Other than that, yeah, I think this is a pretty good true form. It's not crazy. What do you mean by that, Chillhola?
Wait, I'm kind of tired now.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I'm kind of tired now, and never mind.
And it's 3 AM. I definitely should have been asleep like a very long time ago. But yeah.
It's like 2 hours and a half now.
2 hours and a half. I mean, we're not. After this, we only got like talents and enemies, I guess, and like the only two enemy.
Thingy. Yeah, like search thingy, and you still have like Aku researcher that we didn't talk.
Yeah, I think the main thing after this is just like Aku researcher, talents, these two, and maybe Enigma. I think Enigma is probably like the last big one, because it actually is a pretty big one. Other than that, it's mainly just like Aku researcher, talent, and 2 enemies. Which, yeah, I guess I have been moving pretty slow, but that's really about it that I can say about Chinchin Hunters, I think. It's like, he's still not like, definitely one of the lesser used Ultra Souls, but I think my opinion with him is similar to Kachi, and I personally am a big fan of Kachi because I like stupid units. But yeah, I think Chujin Hunters is fine as it is now. It's not... I think it's a very situational unit, but on certain situations, at least you can reliably use him now. And I think that's good. He's good for like Wing Piggy, he's good for like shutting down like Slipnirs and stuff like that. Even it's like if you don't have if you want to like keep Slipnir away from you, you can definitely use him. And also the fact that the curse also helps, that's good. Yeah, I like this change. I like this change a lot. I already talked about this before. Inconsistency sucks. This gives him consistency, and that's good. And also, I haven't even talked about the one main thing that people talk to him, or at least like praise him about, which is this.
The combo, right?
Yeah, he has a 1-slot research combo. It's small, but also it's only 1 slot. And again, this is now a unit that is at least not terrible. So that's good. And also, especially from just the fact that he's Ultra Soul, naturally Angel, which means that you, chances are, if you want to bring him around, you're also going to bring Ramen. And, you know, Ramen obviously have a big boost with Research combo. So, yeah. Pretty good stuff. Pretty good stuff. Good combo. I probably should have started with this first, because this, I think, is like the one that people are more interested with. I think people are much more like when people talk about Chujin Hunters on update, literally like everyone overlooks the stat and just go like, oh, this research combo is good, and I'm like the only one around and I'm like, that's what I'm talking about, mini wave 100%, that's what I've been waiting for, that's what it's all about. And I'm literally like the only person that actually likes the consistent way. So yeah, that's all for the true form, minus the one thing that actually matters, which is Aku Researcher. All right, we need to talk about the Cyclone Ratan Revenge too. I'm gonna go through them very quickly. This is Ratan Revenge. Rat is Ratan Revenge for Aku Cyclone. Rat of Aku Cyclone is... What's the restriction? Wait, what's the restriction for this stage? Okay, rare, uber rare, and legend rare. Okay, there we go. I think Jones had a video on this. If I'm not mistaken, TLDR, if you don't have Belly Dancer, get fucked. If you don't have Belly Dancer, you're probably gonna have to rely on Ubers and Legends to deal with shit. Other than that, yeah, if you have Belly Dancer, this shouldn't be that much of a problem. If you don't have Belly Dancer, good fucking luck. Other than that, the Revenge, if I'm not mistaken, has Cappy on it, and also a bunch of other devils. Yeah, okay. This is a base hit stage. TLDR, once you hit the base, all of these will spawn periodically. Cappy and Midnight D is limited. The rest are kind of spawn in a more they're spawned more often. That's generally the gist of the stage. Since there's sorry, not Ginger. Since there's the Devil Snake and the Devil Celeboodle, you do generally would want Surge Immunes. And, oh, and also, yeah, Cyclone is 200%, which is actually pretty strong. Previously, Aku Cyclone is relatively brute forceable. 200% actually hurts, so you can't brute force it as much. Technically speaking, Belly Dancer can solo the stage. Theoretically speaking, Belly Dancer can solo the stage. But yeah, that's probably not likely. And also, I don't think you have that much cash. So, this doesn't look like a pretty easy stage, but also, if you have the right units, it might not be that hard either. I don't really know. It's kind of hard to judge for me. I think I actually need to play the stage in my off time to actually get an understanding of this stage. But it feels like one of those stages where it's like if you have a certain good Aku Uber, it's free. Otherwise, you might struggle at it. Yeah, I don't really know about the stage. This doesn't look that easy. This doesn't look that hard either. I think it looks challenging enough. But yeah, that's about it. So let's move on to actually Aku Researcher. Chillhola, are you okay?
Yeah.
You've been awfully silent. That's fine. Aku Cat Researcher. Researcher whose body and soul have been completely tainted in Devil World has begun research cats who turn into devils. Did you see the translation for like the sign?
No, I never see it yet.
Oh, okay. So you know, okay, well,
Is it the same?
no, it's different. So yeah, Evil Aku Researcher and True Form Aku Researcher holds a sign which is an upside down katakana, I think, Japanese something. It's Japanese. It's basically Japanese, upside down, with a very weird font. Previously, Evil Aku Researcher, I think it should, maybe it's on trivia? Yeah, okay. Evil Aku Researcher, the writing on Evil Aku Researcher sign, it's an upside down katakana saying Cat Queen will open the door to Devil World. And this is before Empress Cat. So this is kind of like teasing Empress Cat, you can kind of say. I think this is like one update before Empress Cat. Does this also have... Oh no, the trivia here doesn't mention the True Form Aku Researcher. Okay, so True Form Aku Researcher has a new text. The new text here, okay, I think the red one is like cat info, and the middle one, I mentioned this earlier. Let me look it up. Okay, yeah, the translation for this one upside down, or at least the Japanese, is Nani wo kangaeteiru ka wakaranai seimeitai, which means that it means a creature that doesn't know what it's thinking. Which is interesting. I don't know what it's referring to. It might be teasing for a future update or something like that. The red one says cat info, and then the middle one says a creature that doesn't know what it's thinking. What is it describing exactly? I don't know. If this like teases future update like previous Evil Aku Researcher do, that would be very interesting. But it might also be describing itself, but I don't really know if that's the case. I feel like that wouldn't really make much sense. But it could be teasing a new something for the next update, and I think that would be very interesting. Cats don't know how to think. I mean, I don't know, maybe. It's more like they don't know what they're thinking. Maybe brainwash cats? Oh, that makes sense, actually. That kind of makes sense if that's brainwash cats, but we're already finished with brainwash sets, so... Who knows? Maybe.
We still have True Form.
Ah, that is true, I guess, yeah. We could have like an Aku True Form for brainwash cats. That would make sense, actually. That could be it. But I don't know, who knows? Because like previous one, they're teasing an advent. This one does specifically mention cat info, so maybe it is wicked cats, who knows? Maybe it is brainwash wickets, who knows? But that's the fun thing about the Aku Researcher. The true form for Aku Researcher. Oh my god, my butt is hot. Jesus Christ! I just moved my butt for a little bit. I moved my butt for a little bit, and I can feel the seat is like super fucking hot. Jesus Christ!
What do you mean by that?
It just is. I've just been sitting on the same part of the seat for so long. Just, ugh. Stand up, Lucas. I should stand up soon, but it's fine. So yeah, Evil Aku Researcher has better health, which is okay. That's pretty good. But the main thing is that it now have a significantly faster attack frequency. In fact, it basically has 0 attack frequency. It will attack as soon as possible. Previously, it has a little bit of like TBA, This one basically has 0 TBA. It just does attack animation and that's it. So you can see like even from like the attack from the DPS change, you can kind of see like how fast it was. It was previously 700 DPS. It's now like 1,800 DPS. It's more than twice. It's like almost 2.5 around there. If you want to see it in action, I do have a tweet for it. Some of you who follow me on Twitter will probably have already seen this. Let me see. It's this. You want to see how fast this is? This is how fast this is.
Isn't it like a double time of the normal one?
This is so good. Have you seen this?
No. I haven't seen it yet.
It's so good. You can juggle 3 Popsley at once. It's insane. And this is sped up. This is 2 times speed, but still, it's like Jesus Christ. It's so fast. It's super fast. Actual machine gun, yeah. It is almost the same as like Cowcat attack basically. It's slightly slower than Cowcat attack, but it's super fast. It's super fast. It's insane. Look at him go, dude. He's just mashing. It's so funny. It's so good. Standing here, I realize Fisherman on strike 3-star is absolutely dead in a while. I mean, if it's 3-star, you might have to like boost him, you know? You might actually have to boost him a little bit. It's like Hyper Mister. Hyper Mister can do a similar thing. Oh yeah, I guess you can kind of like compare his attack rate with Hyper Mister. I think it's slightly faster than Hyper Mister, if it feels like. No, maybe it is very similar with Hyper Mister. I think it is very similar with Hyper Mister, yeah. Is he usable on IT40? What are you gonna use IT? You wait for like breaking the shield, I guess? Wait, what? Yeah, you can probably use it to break the shield, but I think you can.
I think he mean like killing the Croconators.
Oh, Croconator. Yeah, you can definitely use it to kill Croconators for sure. You can use it to kill Croconator. You can use it to break Miss Devil, Miss Devil's shield as well. It's more similar to Hurricane in a way. Oh, you mean as in like a critter? Sorta? It is a rage critter, yeah, it's very funny. Could actually be decent against metals. Yeah, I think so. I think it's just overall an amazing improvement overall. Because, you know, it basically improves the critical hit, it basically improves the shield pierce. The chance of them proccing is still the same, but just the fact that it's basically like 2.5 times faster also basically means, you know, their proc chance is kind of 2.5 times faster too. And the movement speed, I don't think this shows, but like the movement speed is way faster now. Previously it kind of just walked, right now it basically runs, and that's actually pretty fucking good, because that means that like even on Akus that has big range, like for example Akus that even he can't outrange, even though he has 400 range, there are some Akus that he can't outrange, for example Empress or Le Behemoth, which unfortunately isn't Behemoth, or the Aku face. Those usually you kind of have a hard time trying to break those shield, unless you have like Satoru or something like that, but you usually have a hard time trying to break those shield. Maybe you can like try to time Supercar. Well, it's easy to time Supercar for like Empress, for example, but maybe if you don't have Supercar for Empress, or you have trouble trying to get near Le Behemoth or trying to get near the Aku face, then you can just spawn him and he'll just run in and start bashing. It's like, yeah, he might not survive, but it's a pretty good chance of breaking the shield with how fast he goes in. It's actually pretty good. Or Barrel, yeah, the Barrel is also another choice, but also remember that like, speaking of Barrel, right? Barrel have 300 standing range. Meanwhile, we still got 2 main threats that outranges him. One being Aku Bear. What's Aku Bear's name?
Fallen Bear.
Fallen Bear. Yeah, sorry. Mexico Bear. We got the Mexican Bear, and also we got Vermiligua, both which outranges Barrel. And yes, technically Barrel can kind of tank them. Yes, Barrel can use the LD, but it's a little bit of like a specific situation kind of deal. While Aku Researcher just straight up like outranges, so there's not really that much of a problem or any kind of like specific requirement to have in the stage for it to work. You can just start bashing, and yeah, it's just great. Overall it's just a really good unit. It's a very, very good improvement. Is it like breaking the Aku meta? Maybe, but also there's a lot of things that breaks the Aku meta nowadays. This is just one of them, in the form of what basically is a ranged Hurricane, a ranged Hyper Mister. Yeah, good shit. I don't have any complaint about this true form whatsoever. I think this is absolutely very well balanced and still a very strong one at that. I wonder how much he helps in performance on that club. Maybe it's not that bad with UL Legends now. That is what I'm thinking too. Actually, it's like I know I can do performance thunderclap because I literally have Satoru. I have Satoru. I can definitely do performance thunderclap, but I'm actually waiting to do performance thunderclap in 12.4 after I get Aku Researcher. I want to do it with no Uber, with no UL Legend. And I just want, because like, if you beat Performance Thunderclap, you can't play it again. So I am waiting to do Performance Thunderclap in 12.4. I think it should be good. Because like I can't get Barrel yet, right? I do need to beat Performance Thunderclap to get Barrel, unless like 12.5 you get more Forest of Capra stages. But currently I can't get Barrel since I do need to beat Performance Thunderclap for it. But if I can get Evil Aku Researcher first, then this is like a completely like valid way, right? Yeah. So yeah, that's Evil Aku Researcher. I would not be surprised if people started coming up with like crazy Puffsley strat or crazy like floor 39 strat or some shit like that with this shit, because like this is fucking hilarious. But yeah, that's about it for Evil Aku Researcher. Absolutely solid unit. Moving on to talents, let's try to get this a little bit fast. This is talent for Imagawa Yoshimoto. He gets target Aku, 28% chance to survive Lethal Strike level 1 with max of 100%, freeze resist, HP and attack in general. Why are you moving from your stream? Are you finished streaming?
Yeah, for a while.
Oh, okay. Oh, Jules was there. Damn. Okay.
He's there for a while,
Oh, okay. What was I saying? Okay. Imagawa Yoshimoto. What do you think about this one?
Let's see. I think it's a downgrade Saharu.
It's what?
Downgrade Saharu.
Downgrade Satoru?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, so first of all, when this came out, people like to say, oh, okay, this is the Taki counter or something, but nah, he can't survive in games. And we have like a bunch of Aku in game, right? And nah, Saharu only outperformed this already.
Yeah,
I think it's like kind of decent talent for me. So that's all I can say.
Currently, what's his abilities? It's weaken.
It's strong against and
strong against and weaken, right?
Yeah.
Strong against and weaken in LD. I think like the most obvious thing for all the people that I think, what the fuck is this ad? Hold on. What is this? What is this ad? Super sus. What the fuck is this? Okay. Anyway. I think the main thing that a lot of people also talk about for this one is, the obvious lack of shield breaker. Which, yeah, you can have other shield breakers, but I think like just shield break alone already is able to destroy a lot of Akus just purely from shield break. The main thing that I don't like is that like I think a lot of Aku Ubers are fine to not have shield breaks, but if they're LD specifically, it is pretty bad to not have shield break. Because I think when you're dealing with long-range Akus, almost every long-range Akus have shield. I can't even think of one at the top of my head of like a long-range Aku that doesn't have shield. Are there even any? I guess Condemn Pang? That's probably one of them. But most of the time you kinda don't need to CC Condemn Pang. A lot of the time they're not too terribly hard to stall with generic meat shields, as long as, you know, they're not like surged to death or something like that. So being an LD focused unit, not having a shield break does kind of suck. Especially because of literally one enemy, which is Akugori, which is an absolute menace to society. If you're an LD unit, you're not going to be able to deal with Akugori that well. But if your job is to CC and you can't even hit Akugori that well, you are, in my opinion...
I can think about one, the Omens.
Okay, yeah, I guess. That is true. But also, Yoshimoto doesn't have surge immunity. So... yeah. He doesn't even have surge immunity talent. So, it's like, I guess technically you can kind of tank him. And he does have freeze resist. maybe this is made for Omens, because like he is strong again, so he can kind of resist, and then he weakens the Omens attack, and then he can resist the freeze. maybe this is the Omens counter after all.
Wait, I think it can counter, I think Bonos tried to make this counter an Aki as well, because like, yeah, Aki has freeze or something like that.
Yeah. But like,
I mean,
you know,
what do you expect?
Maybe, I don't know. Who the fuck knows what Ponos is thinking nowadays, really? Also, you know, I literally just fought Aki for the first time the other day. I did not know he has like no health. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Well, not the first time. It's more like this is the first time I ever used Supercar on Aki, and he one-shots Aki, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, he has no health all this time? What the fuck? But yeah, I think it's like, once you break Aki's shield, most of the time he's just dead anyways. So yeah, I don't really think this is that great of a talent. It helps him for sure. You can use him for Omens, like you said. But like I said, I think like if you're an Aku CC, at least don't be LD, because the one enemy that you should be dealing with is Akugori. And if you can't deal with Akugori, what good are you for? Is the thing. So yeah, not an amazing talent. I think it's okay. It's usable. It's not worthless, but yeah, I'm sure as hell won't pay for it. Yeah, that's about it for this talent. I think. Is there anything else you want to talk about this talent?
What the Kajima?
No, Yoshimoto.
No, I just said what I think already is not good talent.
Yeah, okay. Next up, Ultra Talents. 2 Ultra Talents, one for Kachi, one for Himeyuri. Kachi gets Curse Immunity and Strengthen, and Chance to Slow for some reason. I don't understand what the fuck this is. Curse Immunity is Curse Immunity. It's technically not a bad talent, but it's Super Talent, which is completely different. Strengthen is really fucking funny, because Kaji technically does kinda do damage against his effective trait, but also it's only 50% increase, which isn't that much. Kachi's DPS isn't that crazy. It's definitely not that crazy. So only getting a 50% buff on Strengthen. What the fuck? And 40% chance to slow, I think is absolutely not needed. I think his weaken is already good. It's already very consistent. It's great. Yeah. Kachi, I really like you. I'm not gonna get your super talent though. That's really about it. Next up is Himeyuri. Himeyuri only get 2. 1 is cost down and 1 is chance to mini search. The cost down at max is 1,000. Normally Himeyuri is 4,006. Oh, it's 4,740. So
it's
with...
not 1,000. It's like 750.
Oh wait, yeah, sorry, 750. Yeah. So it goes from 4,750 to 3,990. Yeah, somewhere around there. It's basically 4,000 now. If you max it out at least, which in my opinion, I don't think. I mean, it's okay, but it's not really worth the super talent in my opinion. I think Himeyuri is already solid as is. Himeyuri is already a very solid unit, and I think it's absolutely worth the price to spawn. So I don't think having cost down really fixes anything, but the search is actually kind of funny. I saw someone testing the search the other day. The search is 5% chance at level 1, 50% at max level. Since Himeyuri is a 3-hit multi-hit, this means that similar to her slow, this basically means she has like around 80-something% chance to spawn a search every time she hits. From the top of my head, I think it's like around 87%, somewhere around there. She already have like around 87% chance to slow every time she attacks. So now she also have like this basically the same amount of chance to spawn a search that also have a 50% chance to slow. It's increase in damage and also increase in slow, and I think that's cool. However, it's a mini search, which means that the spawn position is also a little bit random. I think the spawn position is fine. 150 to 850 is a pretty big range, but I think this is all like valid ranges. It's good to have, it's good to be able to pierce through, because he may have 445 range. Having a mini search that can also go farther, I think is great in general. But just the fact that it's not consistent, I think kinda sucks. And also the fact that it's a super talent means that it's also very expensive and you need to level 60 Himeyuri. I think this is not the worst super talent around. I think this is probably one of the more valid one. But I think even like one of the more valid super talents aren't the most worth it super talents. Yeah, I think that's what I think. I think it's one of the better ones, but I don't think it's that good. What do you think? Have you seen this?
You mean the Himeyuri footage or something?
Yeah, just Himeyuri in general.
No, I don't know how good it is, because I think I won't give any Dark Attack to her anyway.
Yeah, I do actually give my Himeyuri, not Dark Eyes, I give my Himeyuri attack orb for Angel. Because I actually do kind of use her for damage for Angel. Because like I naturally use her for shit like Wing Piggy and Slipner and all stuff like that. Because she's just really good at slowing. And she already have like decent DPS, she already have like nearly 6k. And I figured, I'm just gonna give her more damage. And I think that's good. I think her damage is nice, but if this is normal talent, I would have liked it much more. If this is normal talent, I probably would have actually bought it. But since this is super talent, with a lot of investment, I'm not buying it. I'm sorry, Himeyuri.
She gained like 10% damage boost. That's all of like everything.
It can sort of like also increase the slow, I guess, but yeah, I don't think it's worth the super talent. I think it's great. If this is a normal talent, I think this is great if it's just a normal ability. But as a super talent, it's a bit too much. Unfortunately, that's how it is for most super talent. Next up, enemies. I don't really care about you. I'm sorry, I don't really care about you. I don't really care about you. These are the only things that I want to talk about. This Okay, should we talk about the pickle first, or should we talk about Surge?
Search first.
Okay, so this is a new Angel Aura, which also someone made a pretty interesting observation the other day. Yeah, the D20 kind of like thing that Aura holds is kind of similar to Aki's projectile. It is not that similar in my opinion. I think there's a good chance that it's kind of just chance based that it's similar. But I think it's also pretty good chance that it's also kind of like a reference, but who knows? Who knows what Ponos is thinking? I feel like there's a pretty good chance still that this is kind of just like they're kind of just like, oh whoops, we accidentally made it similar. But they do have like a little bit of like the spiral pattern, and the Aki one also have like a little bit of a spiral pattern, but it's a little bit different. I don't know. I don't really know if this is made to be a intentional reference or not, but yeah, that's an interesting observation. So this is Angel Aura. What is the name? JP name? Shoten Gokuraku, Sacred God Gokuraku. That's a interesting name. Another working an immigration officer for Heaven using just a gold nugget, which is imbued with Holy Player. Those unqualified for Heaven are slammed down to Hell. Summons an evil spirit when hit by a surge. Okay, so this is an interesting enemy. In terms of stats, it's kind of similar to just a normal Aura. You know, it's a short range. It's a pretty fucking tanky though, and also it's okay in damage. I think this is like 200% in UL, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, is it? I'm not really sure. Oh, it's 250% in ZL. It's in ZL currently, which is like very end game. So you can very much find this guy on like a little bit earlier. So on ZL, this would be 1 million HP, and this would be for a 10k damage. Yeah, around 10k damage. You probably would like 2 or 3 shot your Acers, and you know, would still require ramen to get hit a lot of times. However, it also have Omni Strike up to 200 range, so it does reach rather farther, and also chance to knockback, which is okay, I guess, probably for anti-ramen. But here's the big thing. When hit by a surge attack, creates its own surge of equal level on spawn range. So that's interesting. This is what people call as the Dasley killer, am I right? Yeah, Dasley, fuck yeah, holy shit. Okay, I'm trying to find... Okay, here we are. Deep analysis on counter surge. Oh, by the way, Chillhola, can I, should I still Discord stream you?
I mean, that's fine.
Okay, I'll just leave it on for now. Okay, let me copy this real quick, hold on. I want to show this, but I need to upload this on Discord first, okay. Okay, so this is the explanation for counter search. What is counter search? Counter search, aka Search Reflect, aka Search Retaliation, is currently an enemy-only ability that sends search back to the unit side if it gets hit by any surges. If unit which has surge abilities such as Doron, Dasley sends search, and if said enemy gets hit by the search, it will summon a special soul thing that will spawn search. If an enemy both has surge ability and counter surge ability, it won't spawn the search summoner. So this does not make the enemy immune to search whatsoever. This only means they will still get hit by the search, but they will retaliate with another search, which is why it's not exactly a reflect. This is a search retaliation. Search Summoner, about Search Summoner. Search Summoner is a special soul-looking thing that spawns search with a specified amount of delay. The Summoner gets spawned only once per search, and it won't spawn more Search Summoner for that search. For example, if there are 2 unit surges in the battlefield with exact place, when enemy goes to do the search, it will get hit twice. then it'll spawn 2 Surge Summoner. Even though the enemy gets hit by the same Surge twice or multiple times, it won't spawn more Surge Summoner more than once. Summoner has a 50 frame force swing before spawning the Surge. So, basically, for example, if you have Summer Luga, and a Summer Luga Surge hits this Aura, Summer Luga has what level Surge? Is it level 8? Level 6.
Yeah.
So if you have a Summer Luga Surge that spawns a level 6 Surge and it hits the Aura, this Aura will spawn a soul looking thing. It's this one, hold on. This Aura will summon this on top of them, and that will spawn a level 6 Surge. It'll spawn a level 6 Surge with the same randomness as the Summer Luga. And also, if you have like multiple Surges, so if you have like Doron, Caste, and all that stuff, it'll also spawn those Surges with the same amount of level. But it doesn't follow... I think it doesn't follow the ability. So for example, if you use Uril, it won't actually... the counter Surge won't curse your units back, for example. But the damage it deals are fixed. The damage it deals is fixed. So, for example, this one have basically 5k DPS. 5k damage. Nearly like around 12k damage for ZL. So that means that every Surge it creates will have that exact amount of damage. Even if your Surge, for example, have like a billion amount of damage, or it only has like 1 damage, it will still follow the damage of the Aura. So that's the pretty interesting thing, is that they still have like a certain fixed stat, even though it also kind of like copies the level of the Surge, and it copies the distance of the Surge. The damage of the Surge still stays the same, and the ability of the Surge will still depend on the enemy itself. So yeah, that's why people are going like Dasley Killer and all that stuff. Because, you know, if you use Dasley, it's going to kill you back, right? Except not really, because Dasley is Surge immune anyways. Yeah, and also just the fact that they don't counter the Dasley damage. The damage it retaliates will still be fixed together with the normal Surge. So it doesn't copy Dasley's damage, and also Dasley's Surge immune anyways, so it won't actually kill Dasley. Yeah, sure, your meat shields maybe die and all that stuff, but Dasley would still exist and all that stuff, and I think there's still gonna be like ways to defend against it with like Surge immune meat shields and all that stuff. We have Gado Amigo, we have Cactus, we have Rock, we have Green Shell. It will kill regular Cassidy, yes, because regular Cassidy does not have Surge. It does not have Surge immune. And that is usually like the biggest like victim for this enemy. Things like Uril, things like normal Cassidy, those are the ones that suffers the most. Meanwhile, things like Dasley are chillin', because Dasley is Surge immune. So no, it's not the Dasley killer. It absolutely is not the Dasley killer. You absolutely can still use Dasley for this. It's the Casley killer. It's not the Dasley killer. Which, yeah, that sucks. That's about it for this enemy, I think. Although, since we are talking about this enemy, I do kind of want to move, just to touch a little bit on the Zero Legend stage. This new Zero Legend chapter, it's called Ururun Island Travel. And you know what the theme is? Literally every stage have Ururun. There's 4 stages, all of them have Ururun Wolf, which I think is really fucking funny. And the last stage is a father-daughter combination, where you have Ururun and Yulala. That's cute. Have you done this DL? Chillhola.
Wait, what? Don't do it.
Are you awake? Have you done the new ZL?
Yeah, I'm reading it, chat.
Okay. Have you done the new ZL?
Why? I didn't do that yet because I don't have JP account.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Never mind then. I just thought it's really funny that like all of them is Ururun. And then next one, look, this is your favorite. This one we actually have a Monster Hunter reference now.
Yay!
Yay! Cho Boju Ibirujon Super Violent Beast Ibirujon. This is a Relic Johnny Leon, and it's a reference to wait, the name's not coming out. Devil Joe, right? It's Devil Joe, right?
Yeah,
it's Devil Joe. Why do I'm afraid of like mixing him with something else. Yeah, this is of course, since this is Behemoth, this is reference to a Monster Hunter, and this is our beloved local pickle. This is Devil Joe. Yeah, this is Devil Joe. The name is literally Ibirujo. Unfortunately, the name Ahirujo is already taken. The name the name Ahirujo is already taken, and the name what's the Black Douche name?
Dark Joe.
Dark Joe. Why keep on forgetting names? Dark Joe is already taken. Ahirujo is already taken. So they're taking the third best option, which is Ibirujo, which is a reference to Devil Joe. Even though Ahirujo and Dark Joe already steals Devil Joe's name, which is kind of funny. But yeah, this is Devil Joe. Devil Joe in Monster Hunter is an absolute beast. He's basically like an invasive species. He's probably like one of the big bad of Monster Hunter. This motherfucker eats other monster. This motherfucker uses other monster as a weapon. This motherfucker is a menace. This guy basically is like, yeah, this is basically like one of the absolute big threats in Monster Hunter. Which also, I think the description for the JP also mentions this. Yeah, ancestor of an invasive species for overseas, was invited for pest control because of its greedy appetite, but its gluttony was uncontrollable. It is now a threat to wildlife. This is literally just Devil Joe. This is literally just Devil Joe in Monster Hunter. It's invasive species, it's very greedy, and the greed is so uncontrollable that it's a threat to the natural cycle, basically.
I mean,
you've been streaming for 3 hours.
The uncontrollable part is pretty reasonable in Monster Hunter Devil Joe, because like Devil Joe always hungry all the time, and they didn't want it because of it spent too much energy in the dragon power or something like that.
Yeah.
It didn't gluttony because it wants to eat. It just needs a lot of energy to eat. That's all about it.
Yeah, it is just a naturally like very needy creature, right? It's like it's so overwhelmingly powerful that it needs to constantly eat. And also that's why you can easily put like sleeping traps on him. I actually I remember trying to hunt Devil Joe with my friends, and I tried to put like I bought like a shit ton of like sleeping meat, and like motherfuckers just keep on like going through routes that I did not expect, and like it just keeps on ignoring it. It's like, bro, please. I tried so hard. I tried so hard to make this work, and apparently it just doesn't work, because like motherfucker always takes a different route than expected.
I just realized something. Did you remember that I told it don't have like freeze immune because it eats just meat and sleep?
Maybe? I mean, that would be kind of funny, but that is kind of funny. Like, you can just the reference of it literally not having freeze immune is literally just because like you can use the fucking meat. What should you call it? Like, tinge meat, right? Yeah, tinge meat. So you can use tinge meat on them.
Duck meat.
Yeah, any meat in general. I guess you can use like the paralyzed meat too.
But it will get immune after they eat once. So
yeah, that is true. So yeah, this is Johnny Leon, and it is actually almost nothing like the normal Johnny Leon. This is also another unit that has the Search Retaliate. So yeah, as you can see here on the GIF, wow, this is very helpful to have the GIF ready for this. Thank you, Wiki. But yeah, you can see here, this is Doron surging it, and then it goes back again. So that's cool. It has 4,200,000 HP. Great. It has 30,000 damage. Great. Oops. It has 30,000 damage. Pretty decent attack rate. Attack rate is 3 seconds, which isn't too fast, but also not too slow. It's kind of scary. Attack range is 400 with Omni Strike to 550. That is pretty far. And you can see the attack animation from here. The attack animation is not that slow. Attack animation is pretty fast. Currently he's frozen, but like when he attacks, he can immediately move again if he destroys your cat. So that is cool. He has more HP than Luga. Is that true? Jesus Christ. Yeah, this guy is a one tanky motherfucker. It is kind of like a backliner in a way, but also not really, but also kinda, yeah. It is a very, very scary enemy. It is immune to wave, knockback, and weaken. I think like the absolute biggest one is the knockback. Immune to knockback is a big deal for a backliner, because that means like once it reaches a certain place, you have to kill it. And it has 4 knockbacks, so you can knock back in terms of damage, but you can't like abuse Breaker Blast, for example. Zero Luga is 4 million. Damn, that's crazy. But yeah, this is a very scary enemy. You can see in this GIF that it's kind of like empty. I'm not sure if this is BCU or anything, but from what I remember, the stage he appears in is also kind of empty. And the stage he appears in, wait, I haven't fully talked about this guy. Okay, he also has like a chance to curse. He has Surge Retaliate and all that stuff. I think that's about it. It's a very scary enemy and all that stuff. But if I'm not mistaken, the stage he's in is actually relatively empty. And the stage he's in is here, Hunter's Map 4. So we have a new Hunter's Map if you beat UL. If you get Zero Luga, you can get Hunter's Map 4, which, yeah, new Hunter's Map. Ooh. What's special about this is that, you know, aside from it has all stone up until yellow, it doesn't have like epic stone, and you know, it has like better drop rates and all that stuff. But the main thing is that it now has EX stage. What this is a continuation stage. So if you beat a Hunter's Map, you have a chance to get a continuation stage where you can get extra Behemoth stones. So that's neat. All of the continuation stages are the same. They're just separated to have different rewards, basically. So you know, if you do the red stage, you'll get a red continuation stage, but all of the continuation stages are the same. You're just gonna get redstone. So for example, like this is the purple one. You can see here the drop is better. This one have 456% 456 drop. For the yellow one, you see here there's a 30% chance to get 2 yellow Behemoth stones. Ooh, that's crazy. Let's go. However, if you see the continuation stage, this is the continuation stage for the purple. The drop rate for this one, wait, no, this is the yellow one. The drop rate for this one, there is a 40% chance to drop 3 Behemoth gem. This is the, if you don't know, this is the one that you get for combining 10 stones. You can get 3 of them immediately, or 4 of them immediately. 20% chance, 40% chance. So you basically can get a chance to get what is basically 40 stones worth of stones. So that's cool. That being said, remember that you cannot return gems to stones. So if you are looking for like 10 stones but not gems, you cannot break down the gems into stones. At least currently you can't. So that sucks. Currently there's only like 2 units in the entire game that uses gems. I think it's like Luga and Filibuster. So if you already have Luga and Filibuster and you get gems, great, you can't use it for anything else. I'm sure they're going to give more things to use gems on, but at its current state, yeah. Yeah. For the yellow one also have a chance to drop yellow behemoth gem, 50% chance to drop yellow behemoth gem, 50% chance to just drop a single yellow stone. So that's cool. You have a 50% chance to be able to save up grinding 10 yellow stones, or a chance to also not get the 10 yellow stone that you want instead of because you're not gonna be able to break it down. This is the battleground. As you can see, the battleground from the yellow and the purple one are both of them the exact same. 10 relic doge spawn, 8 doge dark, 8 ginger snake, 2 piggy cuz 3 mood wild doges, and then 650 is the relic, the devil joe. 650 is Devil Joe, the Devil Joe spawn, Sorrel, Hna. So it is a very, very basic stage. If you beat Hna, all the only ones left are like very basic peons, because that's all threatening enough. That's all threatening enough for 2 reasons. One being it's fucking Devil Joe. This guy pushes like a motherfucker, and 2, since this is a continuation stage, you need to beat the previous stage first. So you need to be able to bring a lineup that deals with both if you want to deal with this one as well. So yeah, that's about it. I think that's about all for this update. Question mark? Is there anything that I'm missing?
Hunter rank. User rank.
Well, okay, user rank. 1 plat short at 20,100. Nobody's gonna get this. Ooh, except maybe you, I guess. Dude, are you excited for 3 brick Z, dude? Holy shit! 3 brick Z, dude!
I mean, okay, we then got brick Z is pretty hard to get anyway.
And ironically, actually kind of hard to get, so maybe it actually is not a bad one, huh? But yeah, 3 brick C, that's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Let's go. Yeah, I think that's about all for 12.4 update. What do you think about this general update in general?
I mean, after looking on the Hunter map 4, I think Phonos is cooking on something.
I also thought about that, because I talked about this with Tim Tams too, and Tim Tams complained about the job for the gem, because obviously you can't break down the gems. And one of his main complaints is like, you know, it's like, I literally have just true form Lusa and filibuster. What the fuck do I do with the gems, right?
Okay, so the thing is, they drop like 3 purple gem, right? But you only need 2 for everything we have now.
Yeah.
So that's kind of scary.
Yeah, they're definitely cooking some shit in the future where...
My prediction is like the 4th form, or maybe something like that.
Oh god. I'm so tired of Behemoth stones.
Might be you saw anything on the legend rare. Yeah, legend rare.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, because Bubble did use Behemoth gem, didn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. Maybe it could be for legend rares, but even then, this is like overkill for legend rares still. Because like they don't cost that much gems, right? It's only like a couple of gems, right? It's like 1 gem, yeah.
2 gems, red and green, I think.
Okay, yeah, it's 2 gems, but you still only need like 1 each, so makes no sense to give you like 4 immediately unless they're cooking some shit. So
okay, that's the one that I think about the update. The other one is I really hope that the EVA collab coming soon, because I still meet some unit in that collabs.
I think my current save file have no EVA units, so I am very much looking forward for EVA, mainly because I need user rank. I need as much user rank as possible. Previously,
are you going to ban are you going to ban Aku Dasley in your save file?
Yeah, definitely. If I get her, I'll definitely not use her. But like I have been like upgrading some of my like banned units recently because one, user rank, and two, I wanted to at least be usable in Labyrinth.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, because like I recently, okay, I did this off stream, so nobody knows yet, but I recently level 30 my Gao. I recently upgraded. Yeah, I recently upgraded my Gao to level 30 just so that I can use it for Labyrinth. But yeah, I definitely am looking forward for EVA when it comes to EN. It better come to EN because all of these are gonna be new for me, and every new units are 30 UR, which is they're 30 UR, which is neat. What else is there? I guess like the Luga is kind of a disappointment for the bright one. Neko-Luga is interesting. Clown is Clown. Valval is unfortunately a disappointment. EVA Aku Researcher is cool. Chun Hunter, I'm the only fan of Chun Hunter, so I'm alone in this one, but I think Chun Hunter is cool. Yoshimoto, okay. Super Talent, eh. Enemy. Oh, you know, the two enemies that we got for this update are both like really scary, and I think that's cool. They actually drop like a
Dasley killer.
Yeah, it's actually like very scary enemies. The Dasley killer, obviously, because you know it kills Dasley and literally nothing else. Obviously, as the prophecy foretold. Aku Researcher trades cooldown for backswing? No, the cooldown stays the same. Aku Researcher is just backswing. Community in shambles. Yeah, I can't believe it, dude. I can't use Dasley anymore. But yeah, I think that's about it. I guess like the two main things that I'm looking forward to now is well, not looking forward to, but more like guessing will be in the future. One is whatever Aku Researcher is cooking, something about the cat that can't think, and two is whatever the fuck Konos is cooking for Behemoth Stone. This is why I don't say I'm looking forward to it, because I'm not looking forward to more Behemoth Stone farming, but they're definitely trying to cook something for Behemoth Stone farming.
I mean, I'm looking forward to it because I am a grinder anyways.
Yeah. I did notice recently that like I have been much more lacking in blue stones than I am in yellow stones. I'm actually like relatively okay in Yellowstone amount now, because I am kind of like hoarding yellow stones, but like I'm starting to slowly realize like holy shit, I need blue and green stones a lot.
So the point is I already got like 100 each in not that long ago about the stone. Let me send you a picture.
Yeah, I think you did. I think you did send me like I think you sent me on. Did you DM me on it? Oh yeah, okay, of course. Let me show it. Let me show it on stream. Ladies and gentlemen, the least insane farmer in Battlecat. All 99, 99 purple, 99 red, 99 blue, 99 green, 99 yellow, 99 epic one. My god.
I have 50 coconut fruit.
How did you get that much gold fruit? Oh, shrine, of course.
I mean, I throw like a 1.5 billion XP in there.
Oh my fucking god. Meanwhile, 2 Aku fruits.
It means it's the hardest thing to farm, right? Where I had to farm that.
It is. I still can't believe how bad it is to farm Aku fruits. Like, how do you only give us like maximum of 2 seeds per clear? Like, what the fuck? That's so lame. Yeah, 50 gold. Welcome to Chillhola's word.
I still have my storage.
The least crazy Battlecats player. Okay, yeah, I think that's about it. What else is there to say? I don't think there's anything else. Yeah, that's about it. That's 12.4. Oh right, we need a name for this update. What is this update's name?
Cooking update.
The cooking update. I don't really know. There's so much things that stand out. I feel like the one thing that
the cloud update.
yeah, okay, you know what? Cloud update is good. Cloud update is good. This is the cloud update. Yeah, Hong Kong. This is me, being the only supporter, being Chunchun Hunters. That's me. Lucas, isn't it 5 a.m. for you? No, it's 4 a.m. Yeah, yeah, it's 4 a.m. So I'm fine. Anyways, that's about it. I don't really even have like anything else that I want to say, even for like Tevi. It's like I still want to talk about Tevi, but oh no, you know what? I did want to talk about how tomorrow I might actually stream again, just because I want to showcase Tevi. But I don't know. I might run out of energy and I might not actually stream Tevi. But if that's the case, I'm probably still gonna like post shit on Twitter. So hey, follow me on Twitter or something if you want to see me ramble about Tevi. Other than that, probably one more last plug for my upcoming video for my indie game showcase. Please, if you want to support me and you don't want me to be stuck in Battle Cat's hell, please consider giving it a watch and look forward to it, because I actually try to put effort into it, and I do want to branch out to a lot of other games. I want to actually clear my Steam library, and I want to actually start like playing Hades or some shit like that. So yeah, that's about it. I'm going to find someone to raid now. On my way to finish Robbie Reeby before Tevi drops. I am actually thinking about like, maybe I should like do more Robbie Reeby achievement hunting or something like that before I actually start Tevi. Okay, let's see, who can I raid? You will stay in the hellhole of Battle Cats? Fuck no. I'm going to leave one day. Do you have a raid suggestion, Chillhola?
No, I didn't stick in the Twitch community at all.
Damn, okay. There's someone playing Robbie Reeby right now. You wanna just rate this random person who's playing Robbie Reeby? Rachel Hola. That's no, he already stopped streaming. He literally stopped streaming before I did. There is... Oh, there's someone playing Battle Cats. Okay, let's rate this person then. Yeah, there's someone playing Battle Cats. And they're using a Tutankhamun hat for some fucking reason. Why is he wearing this? What the fuck? Okay, let us rate this person. Okay, start rate.
You're wearing Tutankhamun hat.
Sorry, what?
Why is he wearing the Tutankhamun hat?
Yeah, I don't know. I have no fucking clue. But anyways, let's rate this person. I think, does the rate message work? Nope. Okay, if you have my emote, you can do funny cat raid or funny. Let's do funny clown raid since they already are playing Battle Cats anyway. So funny clown raid, or maybe do a clown emoji too. Can do this. Funny clown raid. Okay, there we go. Do that one instead. Do the clown face one. Do the funny clown raid. Twitter user rate. Okay, whatever it is. Anyways, that's all for now. Thank you for coming. And also, bye bye. Chillhola, say bye bye. Say bye bye to YouTube. Bye bye. Oh shit! I forgot to record the whole thing. Okay, whatever. I'm raiding. Bye bye.